This is Morning Juice. Sports, insight, and great storytelling. Starring Bobby Carpenter and Jeff Tito Thitoff. It's time to attack and dominate.
All right, it's a Friday Morning Juice. Tito, Bobby Carpenter, Mark the Shark with you. Not many more days we can say Mark the Shark with us. Not that he's going to die. He's just...
But maybe.
His career's going to die. He'll be dead to us.
His career will be immortalized.
I know it's going to be immortalized. It'll be immortalized, but nonetheless, we're not going to say it. He'll be here. Do you know how many days Shark can figure it out?
I am here. You don't have to talk about me behind my back.
What do you think about
right in
Shark?
front of your face.
Talk about behind your back, in front of your face.
Oh, let me get on my phone here and just see how many days I have left. Jeffrey Thitoff. What's your middle initial?
It stinks because it's not Friday anymore. So
I know.
It always used to be on Friday.
Jeffrey T. Thitoff.
So what do you have? Is it 51 or is it less than that?
Oh, you mean the day of retirement's not a Friday? I got
44 would be 44.
Yeah, I was going to retire
Friday.
on my birthday. The 11th was a Friday.
Why'd you change that?
Because of insurance
It's
purposes.
a long story,
A lot of
Tito,
stuff.
but thanks for asking.
Okay.
The beauty of how our of our federal government
Exactly.
how the system works.
57. No.
It actually
no.
incentivizes you not to work less. Shark wanted to work more. They said you have to work less if you want this to work out.
All right.
I have 46 days left. Now that's not working
Yeah,
days.
it's 40.
That's
How does that? Well, I guess
because it would be
the weekend.
49.
Yeah.
If
I
it
was thinking
7
just
weeks.
the 2 work days, but yeah, you would have 2 more. Got it. So it's 42 plus the 4, and there we go to Tuesday. So you have 6 weeks left, and then you have that Tuesday.
Yeah, some vacation
Monday,
time.
Tuesday.
Basically, 6 weeks would be
42, and then Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. There's 4. So there we go.
Except, again, those aren't working days.
No,
I know, those
honestly, some of those that are working days really aren't working days. Let's be honest.
6 times 5 working days is 30 days.
plus
You're
2,
taking
32.
you
Minus,
off.
minus
taking-
the 3, so
yes.
29 is what you've got left.
Yep.
Good
That is crazy.
Lord.
There you go.
That's insane, Shark.
It's
So
exciting.
we just got in the studio on Monday, and coming up on Monday, I'm training somebody else.
Colin, do you realize that you've trained him now for only 29 working days left?
That's right.
Yeah, so that's good effort out of you.
Appreciate
to put in
that.
all that effort. You know, it's like training a dog that you know is going to get hit by a car.
That's a good analogy.
I don't know if I would put. That's the darkest. I've said some dark things about Shark leaving. That might be the darkest.
Well,
You
Listen,
can't teach an old dog any tricks.
If I get hit by a school bus and die, I'm not going to know it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So go ahead and laugh.
100%. Believe me, I told so. I would rather go out. Plane crash is the best way to go. Family's probably going to get some
What the hell
compensation.
are we doing here?
Your name's going to be in the paper, and you're not going to feel anything.
I come
Right.
in here all excited to work with a couple of legends, and this is what we're going to talk about.
Well, I don't want to go out like, you
Like
know,
what? Like Len Bias?
feeble, and I don't
Len
have
Bias,
my.
that sounds great.
Well, now Tito, I don't partake in
Amy
those
Winehouse.
substances.
Not anymore. Amy Winehouse.
Charlie Murphy.
Charlie Murphy.
Charlie Murphy. Charlie Murphy
Rick
died.
James.
He died of cancer. Charlie Murphy.
James.
Rick James died
That's
of
the
old
one.
age of just. He didn't break on through, Shark.
Yes. Yesterday we did nudity in movies, and now we watched his Minors, and now we're talking about death.
Well, I mean,
Listen, if I keel over from a massive heart attack, don't cry for me. That's a good way to go.
well,
A
but-
mass-
No suffering.
Yeah.
Just boom.
At any
keel over
age, it's a
and
good
you're-
age to go.
Well, of course you want to live longer, but I don't want to be in a hospital for the last 3
he
years
doesn't
of my
want to have
life.
his wife dragging him into work, making him sit in those meetings, meet diplomats from around the world.
feeding me pudding in my wheelchair.
100%, dragging him up and down the steps of Air Force One. He'd rather just go and sit by a pool and hang out and relax and then get hit by a massive heart attack.
There you go.
That explains why my wife got me that bracelet that she wants me to wear. That says DNR on it. She wants me to carry that everywhere I go. Because you've ever seen me fall down or something, DNR. That's where it's at with me. I'm like the horse. I'm like Barbaro.
So is it like Barbara?
Just shoot me.
Just put me down on the track.
He's actually fine, ma'am. No, just let him go. Finish him off.
He's good. Now, you know what? That ankle looks like it's take a while to heal. He'll probably whine about it. Let's go ahead and just, maybe. Hey, good morning. The Juicers, thank you for tuning in there on the chat on YouTube. We appreciate that. We got a big show lined up for you today. I promise you it will get happier and brighter. I came in here in a great mood, and now I'm questioning my life. Which is probably what Bobby and Shark do every time they come in here with me. By the way, we'll do This Day in History coming up. We're going to have Ryan Fitermen on. He was Pete Rose's agent for the last 11 years of his life. We're going to have him at 7 o'clock. At 7:40, A.J. Hawk will join us. We're going to do some Big Ten over-under win projections. All kinds of stuff to talk about today. We'll start here, though. The Reds beat the White Sox yesterday, finally, 7-1. Cleveland the Reds tonight at Great American Ballpark at 6:40. The battle, they call it just Battle Ohio Cup. They don't
Ohio Cup.
It's called the Ohio Cup still?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know if that was still.
There's an actual cup, a trophy, Ohio Cup.
The way you're talking to me now, I wish you would have a massive heart attack.
You're answering your own question.
No, I didn't know if there was still an actual cup.
Yes,
I knew there was one back when they played here in Columbus for exhibition games. I didn't know if they still had it. Carolina over Washington 3-1 in the NHL Eastern Conference second round. Hurricanes win that series 4-1. Winnipeg staves off elimination with a 4-0 defeat of the Dallas Stars. Dallas leads that series 3-2. Toronto, Florida, 8 o'clock tonight. Florida, after trailing 2-0, right now have a 3-2 lead in that series. That's 8 o'clock. Denver forced a Game 7 in the NBA with a 119-107 win over OKC. Joker had 29 points, 14 rebounds, 8 assists. Celtics and Knicks, 8 o'clock tonight in Game 6. Knicks lead that one 3-2. I'm going to assume, Shark, that I'm all potted up there and ready to go because I'm going to start playing the highlight of many people's day. Bobby Carpenter making us smarter.
Time to get smarter. Morning Juice presents Today in History. Here's your professor, Bobby Carpenter.
Hey, Bobby.
Oh, boy. We have Friday, May 16th, the first full week of Morning Juice, the 136th day of the year, 229 days remaining in this 2025. This date, 1842, the first major wagon train departs from Elm Grove, Missouri, headed for Oregon, has over 100 pioneers, thus launching. So you guys are too old to play the Oregon Trail on the old Apple II computers.
Apple IIe or Apple IIc? Which ones you played on?
I don't know. It had the green screens.
Yep.
They were all the same. We'd play the Oregon Trail on there. And seeing that got me thinking about that.
Dysentery? Whatever.
I don't know what dysentery is.
You say tomato, I say pneumonia.
Exactly. This date, 1866. The U.S. abolishes. Did you know we used to have what was called the half dime?
We had a half dime. That was a nickel.
Yeah. And then they established the nickel on this date, 1866. And then on this date, 1868, there's been a number of presidents who have been impeached over the years. So impeachment are brought by the House of Representatives that off.
Okay.
The Supreme Court presides over it. And Shark, then who renders the verdict as far as guilty or impeached or not impeached?
I think it's Goodell.
100%.
Who?
Pete Rozelle.
Wait,
House brings
it's
the
Congress, so it must be the Senate.
The Senate then votes and presides. And none of the votes have ever been particularly close when impeachment. There was one, however, that was a one-vote margin. Do you know who that was with?
Nixon.
No, he resigned.
He resigned.
Yeah, he resigned before he was impeached. He would have been.
Yes.
Well, impeached doesn't mean
He was
ousted.
impeached as brought in charges.
Bring to trial is impeached. But yeah, it must have been Clinton, I guess.
No.
Jackson.
You're closer. Andrew Johnson. One vote.
Oh, okay.
He was saved by one vote. And that's obvious. It's the thinnest margin you can ever get, but that was 1868 in his impeachment hearing. This date, 1891, George A. Hormel and co. debuted the delicious and wonderful. How do you even know? You
said
I know
Hormel.
what it is too. Hormel,
I had
know
no idea that you were like. That's impressive. I had no idea.
Have you ever had it, Shark?
I've never
had it either.
It's one of those things like hummus.
Yeah, you know, get it, just dip it in hummus on our last show here.
Dude,
Spam and hummus.
Hummus and spam are not in the same
No,
category.
I know, but you asked me the other day if I'd ever had hummus, and I don't like the looks of it. And it's the same with spam. It is the food of Hawaii, though.
Yeah, it is.
They make so much crap over there with spam.
Yep.
Oh, that's good. Now I just get the spam in my email. That's
Have you ever had it?
Spam? Yeah, my brother used to eat it all the time.
Did he really?
He would fry it. Ham in a can.
Okay.
What's
Can
more?
you eat it out of the can? Or do you have to cook
I
it?
think you get out of a can. I thought they did.
I think you can pop it and eat it out of the can.
Didn't they have it wasn't it popular in one of the wars? Where it was part of the rations?
Probably in World War I or II, I'm
guessing.
guessing.
I think by World War II, I want to say.
What year was it created?
Oh, this is 1891.
Yeah, it'd be 1 or 2. It wouldn't
One
be
of
the
them.
Civil War.
Who doesn't like ham in a can? I mean, what's more natural than that?
Good point.
This date, 1927, Stan Musial of the New York Yankees.
Nope.
Wrong. Cardinals.
Cardinals, I apologize. Stole second, third, and home.
In 27?
1927. I thought that.
Yeah, nope.
Maybe
not
I'm
Stan
wrong on
Musial.
that.
Yeah.
I think it was Stan Musial. It might
Bob
have,
Musial?
Bob Musial it might have been.
Bob Musial. That's who it is. Bob Musial
He
of the
was with the
Yankees.
Yankees.
Yeah, with the
That's-
Murderers Row. Yep.
Yes. I just saw the Musial and I did not. That's good job out of you. Amazing that you were able to pick that up, Shark. Based and you thought, well, maybe I'll give you the credit, Jeff.
All right. It's
on
okay.
that.
Don't worry about it.
This
Sorry,
date,
lawyer.
1966, Campbell's debuts SpaghettiOs. So are we putting SpaghettiOs higher on the food pyramid than Spam?
Yes, much higher.
Yeah, although I don't like SpaghettiOs.
I hate SpaghettiOs. The sauce on that is gross.
Awful.
It
Like
is not
vomit.
good. And then Pet Sounds on this date, 1966, debuts from the Beach Boys.
We come on this loop, John B. My grandfather and me. Around Nassau town we did roam.
Oh, that's so good, Shark. Gosh, they're going to kill us with the copyright. They sound
Overrated.
just like those guys.
Beach Boys overrated.
And then this date, 1986. The 1986 movie of the year debuted. One of my all-time favorites, starring my man, Mr. Tom Cruise. Top Gun premieres.
In case some of you wonder who the best is, they're up here on this plaque on the wall. The best driver in Israel from each class has his name on it. And they have the option to come back here to be Top Gun instructors. You think your name's gonna be on that plaque?
Yes, sir.
That's pretty arrogant, considering the company you're in.
Yes, sir.
I like that in a pilot. Tell them this school is about combat. There are no points for second place. Dismissed.
The plaque for the alternates is down in the ladies' room.
R.I.P.
Kill me, you really do.
All right,
R.I.P.,
people.
yeah,
Well,
Goose.
Goose, but
Not Anthony
Tim
Edwards.
Robbins. Tim Robbins is still
Yeah,
alive.
Robbins there too. You're right. Yeah.
Anthony Edwards still alive.
Val Kilmer not.
Val Kilmer not.
I don't know if Tom Skerritt is.
Tom Skerritt is still alive.
He is still alive. He was great on Cheers.
He was.
What?
Tom's-
That was Ted Danson.
Tom Skerritt played a role on Cheers as the boss of the company when Rebecca was there.
Okay.
And she was dating. She had a big thing for him. She was in love with him. Tom Skerritt. Yes. Good.
I'm gonna have to pull that up. But yeah, I love.
I believe
By the way,
you.
Shark, the fact that that's the clip that you pulled made me incredibly happy. That was well done out of you. There's a lot of opportunities there. That's one of the best.
A lot of it's action though that you can't. It
It is, but
doesn't
that's,
work on radio.
Yeah, that's one of the greatest, the great dialogue pieces, if you will, Shark. So
How many
good-
people tried that move in the bar after that movie came out?
You never
singing
close your
yeah,
eyes?
anything like that. Yeah. Think anybody else tried that?
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure a lot of people tried. Maybe even me.
Did you really?
I don't know if we went all the way, but
Kelly McGillis didn't age so well.
Oh, God, you put that so politely.
No.
Not.
well, none of them
Hot.
have aged well compared to Tom Cruise.
yeah.
Well, Tom's,
Meg-
he's a
Meg-
vampire.
Meg did though. She hung on for a long time.
She's got a bunch of surgery done, didn't
Yep.
she?
Yeah, she got a little bit. 1987, With or Without You by YouTube. U2 hits number one.
With or without you. With or without you. I can't.
Overrated.
Oh, that's one of my top 5 songs.
I'm talking about the band. I like the song. The
That's-
band is overrated.
No, they're good.
Come on, dude.
Come on, dude.
They're a bunch of sellouts.
Come on, Eileen.
What do you mean?
They were great. Look, early on, they did a bunch of songs about war and about
That's fine.
about righteous things, and they were up for the cause. And
Like
then
like the brothers.
they did Sunday, Bloody Sunday, Pride in the
Yeah.
Name of Love, things like that. And then I think now they're more just pop stars.
Yeah, dude. Bono wears sunglasses all the
I know.
time.
That's what I mean.
I've never expected. I've never wanted my singers to be any more than that.
Yeah, it's just
You sound like Rothman over here, like getting on your soapbox about how the 80s people stood for something and this and that, and I had to listen to that nonsense. And then this date, 1988, the Surgeon General states that nicotine has similar addictive properties to both heroin and cocaine.
The Surgeon General's report released this morning is the 20th dealing with the health effects of smoking. 1, tobacco is addictive. 2, nicotine is the ingredient in tobacco that causes addiction. And 3, tobacco addiction is similar in many respects to addiction to alcohol, heroin, and cocaine.
There we go.
God.
Thank
God I avoided that
one. Out of those three, Thitoff, what are we leaning into?
The other three, apparently, because that sounds like cigarettes are really bad for you.
Alcohol, heroin, and cocaine, Shark. Where are we going?
Definitely alcohol, number one.
Oh, by the way, do you remember Tom Skerritt's name in Cheers?
It was...
I'll give you a second to think about that.
Go ahead.
Some birthdays today. William Seward, born on this date, 1801. Shark, what did he famously purchase?
Seward's Folly, Alaska.
Bought the ice box up there.
For pennies an acre. A penny is a square mile.
Yeah, and added a whole third to the United States landmass. One of the best purchases ever. Liberace, born on this date, 1919.
I'd like to return to the classics. Perhaps the most famous classic in all the world of music. And yet, for some strange reason, I've been told that I'm the only pianist to ever play this number in Carnegie Hall.
He stole that from Tom Hanks.
That's pretty good. Shark, can you play like that?
Not anymore. I
Not
can't
anymore?
play chopsticks, though.
That's good. Billy Martin, born on this date, 1928. I mean, very rarely can people say that they were 5 times the manager of the New York Yankees. And he won 5 World Series, so...
No, he didn't. He won 2 with the Yankees.
1.
2. Oh, 78 was Bob Lemon, wasn't it? You're right. He won 1 with the Yankees. He went there 3 times.
He was manager of the year with the Texas Rangers.
Then got fired the next year.
He was manager of the Tigers,
Right.
Twins, Rangers, Yankees, A's.
A's for a while, right. He was supposed to be the manager of the Yankees again, probably, before he died.
Former Cleveland Indian second baseman.
Well, he
Billy
didn't want to
Martin.
be.
I think that's his claim to fame.
He won 5 World Series.
As a player, maybe. He won as a player.
I'm sorry,
said
Bob.
yeah.
Okay.
We
I
thought
just
manager.
wanted to
Yeah,
confirm
manager.
that.
We're
Yeah.
the manager
Meant as
kick.
a
Sorry,
manager.
manager. Yes.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yes, and a combination. But I
Yeah.
thought that was like, listen, if you're manager for 5 times, but you've also won 5 World Series, that's pretty impressive.
I'm with you.
As a player
I'm
and a
with
manager
you.
combined.
He and Mickey and Whitey, they got in a lot
That's
of trouble.
why they got rid of Billy. That's why they traded
Yep.
Billy to Kansas City, I thought it was.
You say get in a lot of trouble. I said had a lot of fun.
That too, but the Yankees didn't think it was all that fun.
Right.
That's unfortunate for them. Pierce Brosnan turning 72 today.
The role is unlike any other role because when you play James Bond, you enter this very exclusive. It's a club, really.
It's a kind of a club, I guess. I'm just glad the bloody thing worked, that's all. I mean, 375 million and then some. And it was a big responsibility. I love the movies. I mean, I love the James Bond movies. I grew up with them as a boy. From Ireland, the first movie I ever saw was Goldfinger. So, I mean, I didn't want to grow up, I didn't want to be James Bond when I became an actor, but somehow it came into my life.
Who wouldn't want to be James Bond? He was the coolest. I remember when I told my dad, I go, man, it would have been really cool if Sean Connery would have been young enough to be James Bond. He goes, he was the first James Bond. I was like, well, that makes sense then. I was like, he'd be the perfect James Bond. He's British. He's a big-time star. He has the look. He's like, yeah, that's who they based it after. It was him.
One of the deep conversations I had with my mom was one day we were talking about movies and whatnot, and I always ask her about movies when she was growing up. And I asked her, Mom, who was your favorite Bond? Because I really wanted to get Connery, Moore, whatever, or Bronson. She said, probably James. I said, thanks, Mom. I appreciate that insight.
That's good. That's really good. Deborah Winger turning 70.
Ladies and gentlemen, Deborah Winger!
Thank you very much. If you had told me a week and a half ago that I'd be standing on this stage tonight hosting Saturday Night Live, I would have said, why would I? As you all know, Monday night is Oscar night, so of course they wanted someone to host the show who had won an Oscar. Failing that, they wanted someone who had been nominated this year. Failing that, they wanted someone who had been nominated in the last 10 years. Evidently, only one person fit all these qualifications. Me.
She was terrific in Officer and a Gentleman.
Never saw it. But Urban Cowboy was a good movie. She was Baby in Urban Cowboy.
Jeez, this guy. One of the classics. John Sally turning 61. Thurman Thomas turning 59.
In 1988, Buffalo selected an All-American tailback from Oklahoma State as their second-round pick. Thurman Thomas would go on to set the NFL alight with his all-around game. He led the NFL in total yards from scrimmage a record 4 consecutive seasons, leading his team to an unprecedented 4 straight Super Bowls. In 1991, Thomas was the league MVP, amassing more than 2,000 all-purpose yards. He became only the 11th player in NFL history to achieve that feat.
Great job out of him. Tori Spelling turning 52, and our guy Jensen Lewis, who used to hear right on these airwaves and still can hear with Rothman and Ice, turning 39 today.
Our Bob Evans star of the game is Jensen Lewis. 2 saves in 2 nights to start the season. And Jensen, they haven't come easy for you in that closer's role, but 2 for 2, and you'll take that.
I just wanted to try and slow the game down. You know, I'd kind of left a couple pitches out that got hits on, and so just slowed everything down, just made pitches, executed, and the whole bullpen, Joe did great, Josh coming in, and Gomi giving us a great start.
While you're here with the Clippers, do you see yourself in this closer's role long term?
You know, I did it in 2008 in the big leagues, and it's a rush, man. It's great. You know, I just want to come in and get 3 outs, shake hands, and go home happy. So I'm enjoying the opportunity, and you know, as long as they give it to me, I'll take it.
If you want to wish him happy birthday, his phone number is 216.
Hey.
Oh, okay.
There we go. Good job out of you on that off. And then pass you on this date, 2013, Dick Trickle. Some holidays and observances. We've got Endangered Species Day, Love a Tree Day, NASCAR Day, National Mimosa Day, Sharky. Also, National Piercing Day. Those might go hand in hand. National Pizza Party Day, Nickel Day for the creation of the nickel as well. And those are your circle events, your birthdays, your passings, your holidays, observances for this date, Friday, May 16th, the first ending full week finale of this current iteration of this show, the 136th day of the year and 229 days remaining this 2025.
Nice job, Bobby. Thanks for educating us. We've got some over-under win projections for the upcoming Big Ten football season. We'll debate that next. Morning Juice.
Hey, Max, you look absolutely dashing in that purple tie. Ready to harness the world?
You bet, Daisy. I'm ready as I'll ever be. And might I say, your purple tie really pops with your vest.
Thanks. I almost went with a cape, but didn't want to come across as pretentious.
Nonsense. Anyone in our line of work should rock a cape.
You might be onto something, Max.
Phew, so here we go. First day on the job. We've got this, right?
Right. Don't forget, we both graduated from Dogs Inc. with honors.
Which means I can guide my human around a busy city with ease.
And I can give my human a restful night.
I hope my human is kind and loving.
And I hope mine likes wet kisses and zoomies.
Ready to make a difference?
Born ready. Let's go.
Discover how extraordinary dogs like Daisy and Max change lives at no cost to the recipients. Visit dogsinc.org.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies, because when people don't have to worry about where their next meal is coming from, they can truly thrive, like Marta.
And now we'll hear from our class valedictorian, who with our hard work never ceases to amaze us. Please welcome Marta Moreno.
And Alex.
Hey, Alex, how did the interview go?
I did it! I got the job! I can't believe it!
I knew it. Let's meet up later to celebrate.
And Diego.
Mom! I got first place at the science fair with my volcano project.
That's amazing, sweetie. Congratulations.
Because when people are fed, futures are nourished, and everyone deserves to live a full life. Join the movement to end hunger at feedingamerica.org/actnow. feedingamerica.org/actnow. A public service announcement brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
I'm a wife and the mother of 2 kids, and I've got a good job.
Bye, Mom. See you, Mom.
A pretty important job. Because of my family and my job, I really care about this neighborhood. It's a good neighborhood. Yes, there's some crime, And when I drive to work, like now, I realize that some people here don't trust the police. So the police should be reaching out to this community, and this community should reach out to the police. That's the way to make this a safer place. And when I get to work in the precinct house and put on my uniform, I can tell you, as a police officer, that this department is reaching out to the community, and the community is doing its part. We're building partnerships. This should be happening everywhere. This is how we can all be safer. Get involved. Start the conversation.
Start the conversation and help stop crime. To learn the 5 things you can do, go to ncpc.org/prevent violent crime. A message from the National Crime Prevention Council and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
Bobby Carpenter, husband, father, Buckeye. Jeff Thitoff, husband, father, idiot. This is Morning Juice.
Morning Juice. Bobby, I got to tell you, I love that segment, This Date in History. I know I sabotage it sometimes in some of my comments. Okay. They're all real. A lot of them are, like I really thought that's how you pronounce that word. And I'm not going to pronounce again. From the Oregon Trail.
Dysentery?
You know what? I would be, not that I'm great in this era, I would be absolutely awful in that era. Because I don't know how the hell you found out where you were going. And where
the stars.
Exactly, Bobby. That's all you had. Like, there's no turn left at the 3rd dirt road. There's no, go right at the White House out there. There's none of that. I would be absolutely
turn left at the big tree.
But there's a lot of big trees. That's what I'm saying.
When you see a fork in the road,
that's why you navigate by the stars.
How do you think the 3 wise men got to Bethlehem?
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, and maybe I've got a more modern version of the Bible, I think it was an Uber.
I think it was
an Uber camel.
An Uber camel. I think that there was an Uber camel that took him. Yeah.
That's amazing. Did you ever figure out who?
I can't think of his last name. She always called him Mr. What's his name or whatever it was, and she was in love with him.
Evan Drake was his name.
Evan Drake. Evan Drake. Yeah, that's right.
Mr. Gregory, Evan Gregory Drake. He actually even had a middle name on the show. Apparently,
he was great on that show. He really was. He did I don't know. I bet he did 24 episodes, but he was really good on that one. Bobby FanDuel put out some over/under win projections for the Big Ten. And this is regular season, so you figure on a 12-game schedule. Doesn't include any kind of conference championship game or any kind of bowl game, nothing like that, or college football playoff. And to no surprise, there are 3 schools that have the highest one, but they're all the same at 10.5. Ohio State, Oregon, and Penn State. Mm-hmm. All over/under 10.5 wins.
Have you seen Penn State's schedule?
Yes. I've seen their schedule.
I mean, their non-conference is about as soft as Ohio State's was last year.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's terrible.
I think they play Ohio State on the road, and they have Oregon, I think, early in the year.
Yep. I think
that's
right.
it.
Yeah.
So literally, you're betting 2 things. Can they not get upset by a team that they'll be at least touchdown favorites over, which is the rest of their schedule?
Sure.
And can they split against Oregon and Ohio State? That's what you're basically betting on.
So my question was then, out of those 3, if you had to place a bet on one of them going over, now, we know Ohio State's got, obviously, they've got Texas. They're up north to play Michigan. They're at Illinois. They host Penn State. Out of those 3, Bobby, which one would you feel most confident in getting over 10.5 wins? And which one would you feel least confident in?
Thing is, Ohio State, very similar to Oregon, is breaking in a new quarterback. So that's one of the things that I always wonder about.
Sure.
I would say Ohio State's got Texas in there in the non-conference, which is
Texas, yeah. And then don't underestimate Grambling.
They've got Texas, they've got Penn State. And
Doug Williams is not walking through that door.
You've always got Michigan there kind of lurking. Now, they don't play Oregon this year. So Oregon has Penn State. I don't know who they have in there. Do they have a big non-conference game?
I don't believe they do.
So you're throwing that out there. I think that maybe Penn State also has Nebraska, who should be better. I would be inclined to say James Franklin and Penn State should be the one.
Don't feel dirty saying that, though?
Yeah, because I don't feel good about it at all, because James Franklin inspires no confidence in me to believe that. But based upon everything that they have coming back, that should be the logical solution about that. Where you would go with that. Oregon, Ohio State, both replacing quarterbacks. Ohio State lost a lot, and Ohio State last year went 10-2.
Right. Lost 2 last year. That's what I mean. So that's where. And now you're telling me you're taking away the quarterback, 2 running backs.
State, was they 11-1 last year?
I think they were 11-1.
Only
yeah.
lost to Ohio State.
Only lost to Ohio State.
Oregon undefeated.
Oregon's non-conference is Montana State.
Oh yeah.
Oklahoma State.
There you go.
And that's their only 2 non-conference.
That's not possible. Right? They have to play
Oregon State. They play Oregon State. They play Northwestern.
Oh yeah.
And then they play Oregon State. But Oregon State, Oklahoma State are both in Eugene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say handicapping that, Oregon is the one I would probably take the most, then Ohio State, then Penn State. But the logical answer should be Penn State in this.
God, I would think
they
so.
They returned the most. They were 11-1. Out of the 3 teams, Ohio State's the only one that wouldn't have covered that last year.
You're right, yeah. You're right. Penn State's got the Oregon game. They've got their at Iowa. I don't know, but Iowa always freaks me out. At Ohio State, they host Indiana. They host Nebraska. I think Penn State's probably the right call on this one. I think they're the one who's going to be 11-1.
So who are they losing to?
They're going to lose to Ohio State. I think they're going to beat Oregon.
Here in the shoe?
Yeah.
They get Oregon at home, correct?
Oregon's at home, yeah. I think they'll beat Oregon.
Okay.
I think they'll lose to Ohio State here. I think Penn State will probably be 11-1. That's why I feel most confident in putting that, if I had to put a wager on that.
Okay.
I think so. I don't know. I could be
That's
wrong.
good. I like your thoughts, Thitoff. That's what we're here for. But the question is, you go look at Ryan. Last year would have been the first year that he would not have covered the 11.
The 10.5 thing,
the
yeah.
10.5.
Right, yep.
Correct?
Yep, that's correct.
So that would have been the first time that they would not have covered that. And it's interesting, when Urban got here, I think it was 9.5 his first season.
Yeah.
And they obviously went 12-0. And I remember having this conversation with Rothman. He's like, I don't know if I would take that or not. I go, looking back over the last, let's say, since Jim Tressel's second year,
mm-hmm.
I think there's only been one time that they haven't won double-digit games.
You might be right. That sounds right to me, Bobby.
Well, I was part of the one team that I know didn't do it.
I wasn't going to say that. I'm not going to go dark.
Truth. It's not dark. It's the truth. State season. I'm going to check that out.
The next ones on the list, Bobby, at 8.5, are Indiana and Michigan. Now, I firmly believe Indiana take the under 8.5. Their non-conference is a joke as well. Old Dominion, Kennesaw State, and Indiana State.
Yes.
All at home.
Since 2002.
Right.
The Luke Fickell year notwithstanding.
Sure.
Ohio State has won no less than 10 games one time.
Phenomenal.
And the COVID year, they went 7-1, obviously.
Right, that weekend, yeah.
But every other time they've won double-digit games. So, like, when they put that at 9-3 that first year, I was like, you've got to take that. And
yeah.
Roth was like, I don't know. I'm like, just tell me another time.
Right.
I mean, Ohio State wins double-digit games. Like, that's what they do. The outside the first year of Trust, the end of the Coop era, really since you could say 93, there's been like 5 times that they haven't won 10 games.
It's amazing. It's
in 30 years.
32 years, yeah.
I mean, so I would say that's the entirety of Beam's life. You start talking about like the consistency of what they've been able to produce. So you look at that, it's like, well, yeah. Now, I think is Penn State 10.5?
Penn State, Oregon, and Ohio State all 10.5.
All 10.5. Okay, I thought that there was someone that was 10 yesterday when I was listening to Bo break this down. I don't know where he got his numbers from.
He sets his own line. That's how big time he is. People go to bobishop.com to check his
Bishop book.
The Bishop book, yes.
But one of those was 10, I thought, and I was like, man, if you're going to give me 10, so I get a push.
Push at 10, yeah.
A push at 10.
Push with 2 losses.
I'm taking the over every time on those because of the reason I just mentioned.
Yeah.
Ohio State. Since Urban got here, the answer is never, other than the Fickell season.
Right.
When you had fired a coach right before the start of the year. So, yes, Ohio State's going to win 10. Do they win 11? With Ryan Day, last year would have been the first year that they didn't win 11 in the regular season outside of the COVID year.
The two most talented teams Ohio State's facing this year are both in the horseshoe.
That is true.
Right? I mean, so you look at it, yes.
I guess the thing is you have the Michigan game that's hanging out there on the road. And that is the bugaboo of it all. Because I would say, listen, you beat Michigan, worst case, you split those other games.
Yeah.
And I would tend to believe that you're going to beat James Franklin because that's just what happens.
You got to coach at some point. It'll happen. There'll be a point in the game where Franklin will do something idiotic. And you'll say, wait, why? Oh, because he's James Franklin. That's why.
Because he's playing Ohio State.
That's what he is, yes. I'm the biggest hater of Indiana football. I think Cignetti's a jerk, and I think their program's a fraud after what they did last year.
Well, he can be a jerk, but I don't know if that makes his program a fraud.
They will never have a year again like this. They will never win double-digit games in a year again, Bobby. This Indiana program, it's not what they're going to do. Now, their over-under is 8.5. They've got their 3 easy non-conference games at home. They play Illinois in Bloomington. I think Illinois beats them. They're at Iowa. That's going to be tough. They're at Oregon. They'll lose that one. They host Michigan State, host UCLA.
I just don't know what they are because everybody that was really good for them last year was basically brought in.
Yeah.
And all of those guys are gone.
They play at Penn State. They host Wisconsin. I mean, I think they're staring at a...
What is there? You said 8?
8.5.
I would take the under.
I think I'd take I think I'm looking at an 8-4 season for them. They're going to lose to Penn State. They're going to lose to Oregon, both on the road. That's 2 losses.
I just, as much as I made that point about Ohio State, and how in the last, since 2002, they've only had one season where you haven't won double-digit games.
Right.
Indiana is the reverse of that. And so I don't care who the coach is. It's a tough place to win.
Yeah.
So why would I believe that Indiana is going to do something like that they've never really done before? Like, last year was a historical season. What evidence would I have to believe that they're going to back that up?
Sure, yeah.
I mean, Bill Mallory ain't there. Like, this isn't 87 and 88.
Anthony Thompson walked through that door.
The Dark Day 1 and Dark Day 2.
Oh, good Lord. Those were tough times. Yeah, Bobby, those were tough times.
That's why I brought him up, but that's how long it's been. I mean, heck, the 3 of us were all alive, but a lot of people weren't.
Illinois is 7.5.
Did you just throw an S on the end of that?
No, I said Illinois is.
You're kind of drugged. Shark heard it. He kind of drugged.
Shark, did I put an S on Illinois?
I think you said
Illinois
7.
Illinois is 7.5.
I would take the over on that.
Western Illinois at home at Duke, hosts Western Michigan. Got to believe 3 wins there, right? At Indiana, I think they win that one because, of course, like I've said, the colossally overrated Curt Cignetti and the Hoosiers.
I think Curt Cignetti is a good coach. I just don't think that you can win in Indiana consistently. Him going 7-5, I would say, is successful for them this year. 2 consecutive winning seasons. When's the last time that happened?
I wouldn't want Cignetti coaching Artie's 3rd grade tackle football team.
No, that's not a fair.
That's true. If he said, I want to coach it, I would say, you know what? We're transferring out.
Why don't you think he's a good coach?
He's a loudmouth. Maybe he's not
so
a bad
coach. So what does that have to do with him being a bad coach?
Because you know what? He coaches like a coward. That's why. He coaches like a coward, Bobby. Against Ohio State, he gave up with 10 minutes left in the game.
He knew he couldn't win that game.
That's cowardly. You don't do that.
No, it's not.
You still try to win the game.
No.
He didn't want to get blown out. That's all. It wasn't that he didn't want to get blown out. And so he tucked his tail between his legs and told his team, I don't believe in you.
Not that I don't believe
I don't believe you're at this level.
They're better than they are.
We are notch behind Ohio. Whereas you should be saying, you know what? We can beat this team.
They couldn't. There was zero chance that they had. They played as well as they could, and that was when Caleb had the touchdown return, the punt return.
There was a punt return in that game, I believe. Yeah,
there's Caleb Downs, I believe, punt return for a touchdown.
Yeah, I think you're right in that one. Yes,
and that's when the wheels fell off. And at that
Bobby,
point,
as
he knew
a player, though,
they had played as well as they could play, and then Caleb broke their back, and they knew like the more you expose yourself, you're just going to get scored on more. Like if you try to keep that thing really tight, then you'll be fine. But if you tried to actually go win it, you would have gotten blown out. He knew it. I knew it. Anybody who watched football knew that. And so I don't understand what the purpose is of trying to be the dumb warrior of charging into battle just to get slaughtered.
Well, he talked a big game before the game.
That's fine. So you saying he's a loudmouth, I can say that's true.
Okay. And then he goes out there, and when the game is not over, granted, you and I both believed at the time. I thought going in, Indiana had no chance. I thought going in, they had no chance whatsoever to win this game. And when
there's been a lot of teams that have done that against Ohio State.
But when they were still in the game with about 10 minutes left, he decided to run the ball and keep the ball for like 7.5 minutes on a drive.
Dan Lanning's a good coach?
He's good. Yeah, I think he's good. Yeah.
Well, so Dan Lanning against Ohio State, I don't know what the score was, maybe 31-10 or whatever it was at one point.
And in the Rose Bowl you're talking.
And it's fourth and 4, and he elects to punt around the 50-yard line.
Okay. I have less of a problem with that one.
Why? Play to win.
Okay.
Oregon has infinitely better players. They have guys that could actually go one play and a touchdown. There's no one on Indiana that can do that against Ohio State.
We were watching the Oregon game. And at least we were watching it. We weren't watching it together. I mean, we're not that close. But anyway, we were both watching the Oregon game.
When you were watching the first Oregon game, we were watching your son. So
that's right. You guys were, weren't you?
Yeah.
Haven't invited him back since then. That says something. But
he was great.
Well, what are you doing Saturday?
I got 4. I don't need to babysit anymore.
Well, you had 5 that time. It sounds like he was a benefit to your family. So why not? Hell, he looks like you. The Oregon game, though, we knew Ohio State was dominating. That game was over. They were going to beat Oregon with that 4th and 4th to 50. We knew it was going to happen. Oregon had nothing else going on for the season. We all knew it. Dan Lanning knew it, okay? Indiana still had games to play. They still had games. They were still trying to get...
So my point is, they were still trying to make the playoff. And so why in their one competitive game that they had all year would they risk getting boat raced as opposed to if you're going to go 11-1 and lose it by... Well, I don't know what the final score on that was. 14.
It was like 9 or 10 points. It wasn't that much. It might have been low double digits, but yes.
Okay, so
but it could have been
10 to 14.
Yes,
as opposed to losing it by 28, and then all of a sudden everybody knows you're not as good as everybody expected.
But you also told your players when you did that. You told your players we're not as good.
Their players knew that they were not.
As a player, you wouldn't want to hear that, Bobby.
You don't need to hear it. You know it. Jeff, I've been in a lot of games where there's times where you know that you're not as good. They knew that they were not as good. They knew they would have to play a perfect game to win. And when they gave up the punt return against Caleb, that was over.
But when you were playing the one year you talked about when Tressel didn't win the 10 games, whatever it was, in that season, were there times in that season where you knew you weren't better than the team you were playing?
No, because we always had more talent. Even that team was better than that Indiana team. We just made mistakes. We had first-round draft picks on that field.
Sure you did, yeah.
So we had guys that could go make plays and win. Indiana did not have that.
I think that if you're going to sit there and say we're just as good as these guys, we can compete with the best, we deserve a playoff spot because we look at what we've done.
He was lobbying for the playoffs.
I know.
That's what he was saying publicly. He probably told his guys as they were meeting that week, we cannot give up big plays, we can't do this, we have to execute. Because that's how they won. They just can't go out there and beat you. Ohio State could just roll out there and beat them.
Do you think if they would have gotten beat 49-10,
there's a chance they wouldn't have gotten in?
That's their one loss, right? It
would have been their one loss.
I think they would have gotten in.
But I think if you would have compared them against
Alabama,
here's the thing: I think all those SEC teams screwed themselves by getting a third loss.
Yeah.
But I think if you would have put a 2-loss SEC team up like Alabama against a 1-loss Indiana team, that their one loss was to Ohio State in the only real game they played all year, and they lost by more than 20 points.
Right.
I think I would put the SEC team in.
Didn't Alabama have 3 losses this year? Am I right on that one?
Yes. Yeah, so did South Carolina.
Right. South Carolina. Ole Miss. Ole Miss is the other one.
If any of those teams would not have blown a third game,
would have lost 2. Yeah.
And like a bad loss.
Right.
Like Ole Miss lost to freaking Oklahoma or Florida.
Right.
Bama lost.
Ole Miss lost to Kentucky too, didn't they?
Yes, they had bad losses, and then they lost to Florida and Bama lost to Oklahoma, I believe.
Yes, I think
at
you're
the end of the
yeah.
season. And so, like, if you eliminate one of those bad losses and you look at that and you're like, okay, Bama beat Georgia. Like, they're capable of beating good teams. You look at Indiana, the one good team they played, they got smoked.
They did. You're right, they did. All right. Coming up next, hit you with some quick hitters. This is Morning Juice.
Teachers are dynamic leaders, shaping a new generation. They bring a variety of perspectives from diverse backgrounds, innovating how they teach to prepare students for our fast-changing world. Achieving this takes skill and expertise. They're tireless explorers, creatively discovering a universe of solutions, telling stories, experimenting, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, and connecting with each other, leading by example. Experience the unique joy of helping students thrive. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready to begin? Explore teaching at teach.org, a campaign supported by the U.S. Department of Education, Teach.org, and 1 million teachers of color.
I'm Shanola Hampton. Every day, millions of people face hunger. Today, I will share with you some of their experiences. I'm stuck between paying for medications or paying for food. John from Maine. After paying my bills, I can buy groceries. It's sad to say, food comes last. Alice from Oregon. I thought pantries were for less fortunate people, but anybody could be less fortunate in a day or even a second. Claire from Virginia. The Feeding America network of food banks helps provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year. No one should have to worry where their next meal will come from. Together, we can end hunger. Learn more at feedingamerica.org.
Once there was a man who couldn't stand.
A mom who couldn't wait.
A scientific community that said it couldn't be done.
And then you.
And then I.
And then we.
Brought neuromuscular disease into screaming color with the Muscular Dystrophy Association.
For 75 years, our voices have thundered through the halls of Congress.
We've willed the impossible into existence.
We've pushed the science,
raised the funds,
shifted the narrative,
and transformed the reality of life with neuromuscular diseases.
For 75 years, we've built communities together.
Established the field of neuromuscular medicine,
and made it thrive.
Call that a legacy.
Call it impact.
Call it momentum.
Just call it ours.
Because it's the generations of community heroes that give MDA the strength we have today.
And until neuromuscular disease is a thing of the past, you couldn't stop us if you tried.
Join us and celebrate 75 years of breakthroughs at MDA75.org.
We built a brand new studio just for Bobby, and Tito has already ruined it just by being here.
I'm pregnant.
This is Morning Juice.
Morning Juice. Tito, Bobby Shark. I'm no longer frozen on YouTube. Thank you to the tech guys, the guys behind the scenes for us, our engineers, getting that figured out. That's always a big fear of mine, is being frozen on screen with a stupid look on my face, which is hard to do. To find me with a stupid look on my face, Shark. Let's do some quick hitters.
Morning Juice presents Quick Hitters.
Sponsored by Dr. Mark Levy. If you're snoring and not sleeping, call Dr. Mark Levy today at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP.
Good morning, Shark.
Good morning, gentlemen. As you know, there will be flag football at the 2028 Summer Olympics in Los Angeles. We have assumed that Team USA would be filled with NFL players, but it's not a done deal yet. League owners will vote next week on a resolution that will allow players to participate. You would think that it would be part of the NFL's goal to expand the global reach of their sport.
Why would you think that, Sure?
Because that's all they try to do, Roger Goodell, looking for more ways to generate revenue internationally. Well, some of the issues that need to be ironed out: a limit of one player per NFL team, insurance policies to protect any players participating in flag football, and Bobby, a salary cap credit should any player get injured in flag football.
I think I like that. That makes a lot of sense. If you have a guy who is making $20 million a year and gets hurt playing in an international game, then you get those dollars back to be able to allocate to someone else. I think if you're trying to promote the game, if there's a limit, every team can just have one, and so you get, obviously, those things happening. It's going to be skill players, so you have quarterbacks, receivers, DBs, those guys out there. So that makes sense. They're trying to grow the game internationally. They've been promoting the hell out of this flag football.
Yep.
They've got Jalen Hurts throwing the stinking flaming football through the torch every other time I'm turning on the television. So you're telling me that they're not going to want to do this? Like, they want to grow the game. They want to get it out there. They want people to see it internationally. They want people to play flag football internationally so that then they'll become fans of American football. So I get it. So these things, I would probably do 2 players. You cap at 2 players per team.
Well, I think you can do 1 player for Team USA and 1 international player if you have somebody that qualifies.
If you got a Joel Embiid on your team or something like that. I don't know many international players.
There aren't a lot of international players.
I was trying to think of some. I don't know.
NFL.
I mean, I don't think Daniel Igwe-Bleakley is going to run through that door, right?
I wonder how well. Here's the thing. There are some guys who would qualify, whether if like their parents were in the military, they were born in other countries. There's guys that are Haitian, Bohemian, and things like that. And I don't know if they're going to send a team or not, but there would be other guys who I've played with who their parents were born in other countries who would qualify. I don't know why you just can't have 2 on America's team, but we'll see. Like how many teams is America sending? I don't know. Like trying to figure all this stuff out.
Right.
But those things seem logical, and I think that that's a good move because if you're going to do this, you might as well make sure that you're trying to promote it in the right way.
Wait, is it 7-on-7? Is it 11?
7-on-7.
11-11.
Yeah.
Okay.
So flag football.
Yeah. My problem with it, Bob, is no. Look, the salary cap
guys are selfish for playing for their country.
Listen to me.
I know we've heard that.
Listen
argument.
to me, Shark. Yeah. Listen to me. This isn't the Kyrie Irving debate. Okay. The Chiefs get a salary cap break if someone gets hurt that plays for them, right? Okay. So you're telling me if Mahomes shreds his knee out there in a game, and you think Chiefs fans be like, oh, thank God we get the salary cap relief. We'll be fine this year now. Who's our backup? Like, do you think they're going to be fine with that? No.
I watched Chad Henne and Shark did as well, scramble on a 3rd and 14 against the Browns in the playoffs.
I don't. If I'm an owner or a fan, I don't want my quarterback playing in this thing.
You're the most selfish person in the world.
No, that's not, Bobby. Listen.
This is Shark said you're going to point this argument out, and
it's
you
not
said
selfish.
No, and then you just went back to it.
No,
I don't want my guys.
I'm not saying the players
hurt.
are selfish. I'm not saying the players are selfish.
The players aren't selfish because the greatest honor you could possibly have is representing your country. You were in the United States military.
Yes.
Maybe you don't feel that way. I'm sorry, you're a flag burner.
Don't you dare put me with Shark.
I mean,
Shark did that in the 70s. I never did.
Shark may support communism, but at least he hangs the flag behind it. You're burning the flag.
Listen, I'm just telling you as a fan, if the Steelers sent over T.J. Watt and he got hurt, was going to miss the upcoming season, I don't care about the salary cap break.
That's fine. I don't care that you don't care.
I don't care. You don't care. I don't care.
You're the most selfish person in the world when it comes to this.
That's not fair.
What if guys get hurt doing this? What if a guy falls out of his shower and gets hurt? I mean, you can get hurt doing anything, man.
You absolutely can. But if you fall out of your shower, that's an accident. That's something you could have. That just happens. But you going out and playing football, getting hurt is not an accident.
We couldn't call this playing football. It's flag.
Bobby, I was throwing with Artie last year in the front yard, and I stepped in a little bit of a hole and turned my ankle. I was out for 3 weeks.
If there's holes in this field, then we've got bigger issues.
It's more of an indentation. It wasn't really a hole, more of an indentation. But nonetheless, it was unsettling footing. But, Bobby, and you're breaking news here. If I had the sound, I'd play it. You are a smarter businessman. You know more about business than I do. You should teach a class what you should do, but I don't know if you do. But anyway, I don't understand this whole fascination with growing the game globally. I wish the NFL had the same mentality.
That's where the money is.
Listen. The NFL, when it comes to television, okay, and here in the United States, the NFL used to say, okay, NBA, you got this day, college, you've got these days, whatever.
They've already gobbled up all the
That's
other
what I'm
days.
saying. Now the NFL's like, you know what? Screw you. You adjust to us. We're going to put the games there because people are going to watch it. Right? You come to us. We're Big Daddy. You come here. We're not going to adjust for you. You adjust to us. I do the same thing internationally. Look, this is our sport. You like it? Watch it. You like it? Watch it. I'm not going to go put a bunch of guys in the Olympics who get hurt and end their seasons, end their career. Robert Edwards, the Patriots, never played again after that sand football game.
That was on sand, and I would not recommend that. But that was also part of like the Pro Bowl stuff. And
it was an exhibition.
And then they did away with those things.
They did.
But there wasn't any money in it. That's why the owners are okay with this, because they're all going to make money. They're going to make more money. So maybe one individual player has an injury and an issue.
Yeah.
That's not going to deter the other 31 from saying, listen, We can get more people watching in Europe, more people watching in Asia, wherever it is. They have more people than us, so we get more dollars.
I would tell TJ if they practice, go after Mahomes'
By
knee.
the way, so when you watch these guys,
come on,
you watch these guys train in the offseason. You see them go running routes and all that stuff. Like, that's no different than doing this.
It is.
How?
Because
they're training for their craft. You're
training
playing
for your
to
craft
get better.
is one thing. Playing competitive football is another. I know it's flag.
It doesn't. You're not getting hit.
You're going to have guys trying to defend you very vehemently.
That's what you do in the offseason. They run
the
7
prima
on
donna receivers don't always get.
Those guys go and do work. I'm telling you, man. They go and work one-on-one against other good players. That's how you get to be better. Sharpen your sword, Thidoff.
All right. What Browns
iron sharpens iron.
What Browns player, Shark, would you like to see if there was one that go to the Olympics?
I don't care.
Why don't you care?
I don't care. Quinshawn.
You want to see Quinshawn?
Yeah.
Bobby, one Bengal to go. Who would you want there? If you were a Bengals fan, I don't think you are, but if
you
were
want Joe Burrow.
You want Burrow there.
Yeah. Maybe Hendrickson.
All right.
Charles Woodson won the Heisman Trophy at Michigan, but he is a native of Fremont, Ohio, and he wants to become a minority owner of the Cleveland Browns, and it looks like that's going to happen. Woodson will reportedly buy 0.1% of the Browns. The team is valued at $5 billion, so Woodson would pay $5 million for his share. Now, the NFL has a policy about owners not being involved in the alcohol industry. So Tito, Woodson will have to remove his name, image, and likeness on packaging for his wine and whiskey business.
And he also will be held to the same standard that Brady is regarding the Raiders, as far as because he does some broadcast work for Fox, I believe. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's worth giving up all that for 0.1%. It seems like a lot to give up for just that small of a stake.
It's a $5 million stake. So do you have $5 million to buy a stake? If someone offered me a stake of an NFL franchise for $5 million for 0.1%, I would buy it.
And okay, what if the contingency says you had to stop working with me?
Then I would.
You think about it.
Is that
now, just that I can tell you're pondering.
Yes.
You're pondering on that one. Bobby, I would too. Look, I'd have pause. If somebody be $5 million, I'd stop working with you and Shark. You kidding me? That's a big time no.
You look at how much money that those guys make, and 0.1% on profits for $5 million. Like Woodson's going to be doing all right on that.
Yeah, and the value never goes down.
No,
it only goes up.
You're right.
What did Rooney buy the Steelers for? $100?
So, yeah,
Jerry Jones bought the Cowboys for $160 million.
Right. Yeah,
they're worth $10 billion.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
that's been 30 years.
All right, coming up next, he was Pete Rose's agent for the last 11 years of Pete's life. Ryan Fitermen joins us next. Morning Juice.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. I know firsthand what it's like to battle through joint pain. After years of the hard hits and the wear and tear on the field, I thought pain, it was just going to be something I had to live with. Let me tell you, that's no longer the case thanks to QC Kinetics. For over 8 years, QC Kinetics has been leading the charge nationwide in non-surgical joint pain relief, helping over 50,000 patients get back to doing what they love, pain-free. Whether it's your knees, back, hips, shoulders, you pick it. If joint pain's been slowing you down, you need to hear about what Dr. Aaron Walkoff and his team in Columbus are doing. They're using cutting-edge regenerative medicine, natural biologic treatments with powerful healing properties to repair and restore damaged joint tissue. No surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. Just real results. The kind of treatment I wish I had access to during my playing days, and now you do. Imagine this summer playing around a golf, chasing the kids, and just enjoying a walk without the pain. Go to qckinetics.com/Columbus or call 380-228-4544. They now have offices in Grove City and Canal Winchester.
Hey guys, 13-year NFL veteran and Super Bowl champion Jason McCourty here, and I'm the Innovation Ambassador at FAIR, Food Allergy and Research Education. I would say the most challenging thing as a parent of a kid who has a food allergy is probably the ignorance that I myself had in the beginning. I didn't know what anaphylactic shock was. I didn't know the dangers, let alone the things that she needed to be able to have a normal life. When you go to drop your kid off, and every single time in the beginning, we'd have to go through everything she was allergic to. Preparation is everything. And me, for playing football for 13 years, it was all throughout the course of the week. It's getting ready for game day. When you're on the field, you're playing for your fans. At home, you're playing for your family. My playbook: read labels, keep it allergy-friendly, and have an epinephrine nasal spray as a backup plan. Because when my family's safe from food allergens, that's the real victory. Visit foodallergy.org to learn more.
While serving in Vietnam, a grenade took my ability to see. Today, I'm a sculptor. Now, my fingers are my eyes. I'm Michael Naranjo. As a veteran, I know the challenges of life can be great. In my art, turning a lump of clay into something beautiful, that is worth doing. Life is like that. We each must use what we can to make things better.
DAV helps veterans like Michael get the benefits they've earned. They help more than 1 million veterans every year in life-changing ways.
Now, I show others how they can create something with their own hands. I know it can do a lot of good. With support from DAV, more veterans can shape their lives into a thing of beauty. My victory is bringing beauty into the world.
Michael Naranjo, may your victories inspire many more. Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
Proud to be your go-to sports addiction.
WBNS, WBNS FM, HD3 Columbus.
The Fan 3, Ohio sports destination. If you're looking for the inside scoop on the Buckeyes, you've come to the right place. This is Morning Juice.
Big news this week in Major League Baseball was when Pete Rose and was among the players that were taken off the banned list, the lifetime ban list or permanent ban list of Major League Baseball, making him now eligible for a Hall of Fame vote. That wouldn't come until 2027 with the Veterans Committee. So he could, if he gets elected there, he'll be joining the Hall of Fame in 2028. We are now joined by Ryan Fitermen for the last 11 years of Pete's life. He was his agent. Ryan, we appreciate the time. I know you were very close with Pete and his family, and I'm curious, what was your reaction, and were you surprised at the news about Pete coming off of that list?
Yes, good morning, gentlemen. Tuning in here from Houston. Thank you for having me on. I wouldn't say surprise was the word. I kind of felt that over a matter of time this would eventually happen. Obviously, it happened, it was in less than a year of Pete passing. So this was extremely exciting news for myself and my team here in Houston and Pete's family. But I think we did all believe, at some point this would happen. And, we're very excited for this and for his legacy to continue.
At what point, over the last, you said you've been around him for the last, decade or so. I mean, was there a belief and a realization that he was not going to get reinstated while he was still alive?
It's one of those things that, Pete said in some of his last interviews. He didn't really chase it. I think he did kind of know in the back of his mind that, once he did pass away, that this would potentially, be the situation that we're in. He was suspended over 30 years and being punished over 30 years. And as Pete would be the first one to always tell you, I mean, he's got Hall of Fame stats. It's like there was a point where Pete had the record for having records, right? So not just hits, but, the most winning games in anybody in professional sports with 1,972 wins. I mean, his stuff is in the Hall of Fame. His jersey, his bat, his stats. So he meets all the Hall of Fame criteria. But he did make a mistake, and he did do his time for it. So as stated, myself, my family, and Pete's family are all extremely excited for what could potentially happen here in the near future.
Ryan Fitermen joining us here. He's with the Fitermen Sports Group, founder and CEO of that. We'll talk more about that in a moment. But when it comes to, the last, like I say, you spent a lot of time with Pete. I know you were, did travel with him quite a bit extensively and had a lot of very close to him and his family. And I'm curious, do you think that Pete regretted not coming clean sooner? Or did he ever, let me put it, did he ever express regret? I'm sure expressing regret wasn't the easiest thing for someone as competitive as Pete was, with his personality, what I know of him or what I watched of him and whatnot. But do you think that he had regret, or did he ever express regret about not saying from the beginning, yes, I did this?
I can't really answer that question. Like I said, Pete is very well aware that he made a mistake, and it had a long-lasting effect on his career and his legacy. I don't want to get into things that Pete did or didn't say, but I know he's looking down on us, and with the news on Tuesday, he's extremely excited. Obviously, there was a beautiful day in Cincinnati Wednesday with a sold-out stadium. So Pete brought the crowd out again, and when we were pulling up to the game, I mean, there was number 14 jerseys for miles and miles, right? And it was a beautiful day, honoring his legacy and celebrating what is to come. I think Pete's very pleased with the decision, and his family is. And again, as stated, this is something that I think he knew that would eventually come, but unfortunately, it had to come at a time where he's not here to celebrate it with us.
Did you ever get injured trying to mimic the head first dive?
No, fortunately not. No, I mean Pete would always emphasize to fans, play the game to win and play to hustle, and always bust your butt and try to get better. But no, I'm 40 years old now, so no, I never was trying the head first slide.
Do you believe, Ryan, that people get elected to be in the Hall of Fame? Because I know that he's eligible for it, but the writers still have to select and ultimately put him in. And is there a belief with you that they will eventually do that? And how long do you think that will take?
Yeah, I would like to remain positive and think that he will get in. I think he deserves to get in. I mean, everyone does make mistakes, and he was punished for it for 3 decades. I do believe he will get in for sure. I mean, he deserves to be there as far as his stats are there. He meets the baseball criteria. Yes, people do make mistakes, and he should deserve a chance to be enshrined in there with the greats of the game. And I do believe he will get in for sure. I mean, it would be beautiful to see him get in on the first opportunity that he has, but obviously that's something we can't control, but we can just push for, and do anything we can to help get him in, as you guys stated, in 2028.
Ryan, I'll say it. I'll be the one to say it. He will get in. Okay, I know he's going to get in. He will get in at some point. And I'm curious, had this conversation the other day on the air. When Pete gets inducted, is there a former teammate you think that would make the best choice as far as somebody who, really was close to Pete and got who Pete was and got to know him very close? Like, is there somebody, a former teammate that maybe you think would be the one chosen?
I'm not sure. I think somebody who's always looked up to Pete and respected him for who he is Barry Larkin. I mean, he kind of grew up watching Pete and idolizing Pete and playing for Pete. But unfortunately, most of Pete's teammates are getting up there a little bit in age. So obviously we can't, I don't know 2 years from now who would be able and well to go up there and speak on behalf of Pete. That's a tough question. It's a great question, but a tough question to answer.
Yeah, it's really good because I'm curious, like you said, of how that ultimately would look moving forward with that. I guess, you said he didn't really chase it the last couple of years of his life. Do you think that was just a contentment of understanding that it probably wasn't going to happen in his lifetime?
I think he was well aware that it wasn't going to happen in his lifetime. And I think he also understood, that he openly admitted often, right, that he did make a mistake and it did cost him, from having a flawless legacy. And even on the business side, from what we had to do, it cost him a lot of money over the course of the years just because, he did have, I guess an asterisk by his name or by his records, right? So, again, it's not something he chased. I'm sure it's something he always hoped for, but he definitely believed, baseball-wise, he had the stats and he performed like a Hall of Famer on the field. And one thing is, there was a time where we had Pete doing work across the country over 300 days a year. 250 of those days doing meet and greets in Las Vegas. And Pete always said he's the biggest fan of the game, and no one talked about baseball more than Pete. No one, instructed kids and on a daily basis and fans on a daily basis in Vegas and at the meet and greets all over the country, and promoted baseball and pushed baseball in a positive manner more than Pete Rose did for the last 30 years. So he was always an advocate for the game. He always knew what the game did for him. He was always a fan of the game and pushing for, everything MLB in a positive manner. So,
I am not asking for you to answer this because I want to be surprised. I know Pete was famously part of some of the WWF moments back in the day, the WrestleMania things. I know he did that also. And my hope is, and again, don't spoil it, my hope is he recorded an induction speech that you would just pop up on a screen when he gets inducted. And I hope he's Pete in that. But we'll see if that happens or not. If you've got it in a vault, don't tell me. Tell me about Fitermen Sports, though. What your group out there in Houston?
Yeah, so we're a sports marketing and memorabilia company in Houston, and I've kind of specialized in representing retired legends. So some of my current clients are Mike Tyson for 14 years, Ric Flair. I'm Houston-based, so I have Akeem Olajuwon, Clyde Drexler, Earl Campbell. And what we specialize in, athlete representation, corporate appearances, meet and greets. We do well over 200 autograph signings a year all over the country. Fitermensports.com. We're on year 17. And you brought up the WWE. We had a stint where we were the official memorabilia company for the entire WWE. So we enjoy what we do. We get some incredible opportunities to work with legends on a weekly basis. Myself and my team all over the country, and fortunately, I had the privilege of representing Pete and traveling with Pete for the last 11 years of his life and his career. So we had some amazing moments together, and he opened a lot of doors for me. He was great to my family and my team and my kids. So, I'm someone who's a Pete Rose fan, and I love him like family. And as you and I discussed the other day on the phone, Wednesday was just a beautiful thing in Cincinnati. Coming off the positive news on Tuesday, a middle of the week game, standing room only. I mean, Pete still has the fan power and the following, and it was just a beautiful thing to see that in Cincinnati.
Ryan, we appreciate the time today, and I know it's early out there in Houston. Thanks so much for taking time to talk to us about Pete, and have a great rest of your day.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. You have a great rest of the day as well. You take care.
All right, that was Ryan Fitermen there from Fitermen Sports Group. We were talking. He did. Pete, he did all those, obviously, famously, those events in Vegas where he was always out there.
Should I ask him, does he have any more of the stuff? I'm sorry, I bet on baseball.
I'm sure he does. I'm sure that's there. See, I brought up that thing.
I'd like to get one of those.
You want to get one of those?
Yeah. I mean, how much do you think he'd charge for it?
I don't know. I just put his website link on the chat in case he wants to check out the things they have. They got a lot of cool stuff there. I'm not sure if there's anything specific on that one, but I just thought about the top of my head that thing with the video. What are the odds you think that Pete actually did something and he's got it in a box just in case I get elected, and he goes out there, and I will say he does a big FU to the Major League Baseball.
I don't know about that, but yeah, well, I don't think they would let it be aired if it was something that was hugely negative towards Major League Baseball.
It will get released though at some point.
Yeah, I would hope that he did that.
Would that be great?
I mean, I've done some different videos. Now, granted, in the event of my untimely demise,
you have?
Yeah, why not? I mean,
you got if I die, play this.
Well, I mean, yeah, for all
for the kids,
for my kids and stuff like that. Yeah. I mean, I live a pretty reckless life that off, and I told you, I mean, there's a lot of things that I partake in that may lead to my untimely demise at some point. And so I've always be prepared, like the Boy Scouts. That's why we had the memorabilia draft at my house with the kids already, and I love the draft. Did I tell you? I told you that.
No.
We talked about.
Come on.
Oh, yeah. I laid out all my stuff for the kids, like my bull rings and my...
Can I have the Illabuck?
The Illabuck wasn't part... I mean...
Can I have it? Okay, I got the
It's unclaimed.
I just have to outlive you.
That'll be your biggest challenge.
By the way, wife and kids, I got all that. This is why I'm going to take care of myself now. I'll be healthy for Illabuck.
Yeah, I'll put your name. I'll put a little
Thank you.
Post-it note for
Thank you.
You can get the Illabuck.
So is the video that you created like instructional? I mean, are you teaching your boys how to shave? Because they
this
obviously
isn't
don't
one
shave
like
yet?
That's like that Michael Keaton movie. Remember that? He did that where like he recorded
Yes.
things because he knew he was dying.
No, not necessarily that. Just more of messages, like just a general message of. It was something I tried to think of what if my dad would have passed away. What were things that I would have wanted him to tell me that I would have wanted to remember the rest of my life?
Like inside family stuff?
Of just about my opinions about them and what they are and what their path would be to success in life. Maybe some of the different things like that.
Do you update it?
Yes.
Because I would think like if I did it'd be like, hey kids, make sure you always clean out the VHS tapes.
So originally I had written letters, which
Okay.
I had. And then once I started doing all the podcasting and stuff like this, I was like, you know what? I might as well just do videos. And I probably will go back and I have some to like a group and then individual ones. But I shot them all at once and I regret doing that because I think I need to do them in individual days. They're not crazy long, couple minutes. It's like it's an hour monologue of me telling him stuff. But I was like, what would, if I wasn't around, if my dad wasn't around for me to grow up through my teens and 20s, and me at 30, whatever, but what advice did he give me that I wish I would have had I not had it? Like, what were things that he told me that were impactful? And so what are things that I would be able to tell him and like all my kids of just who they are as individuals, what I think that they're good at, what I think makes them special, and how they can lean into that in life.
Can I have the boot?
What's the boot?
The broken ankle boot?
The broken ankle, and you let me use
boot
when
cast?
No, like the walking boot
The
thing.
walking boot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I have that?
I guess. I mean, assuming that we still have it.
Well,
by
let's
then.
take this
I
weekend
let a
if you
lot
have
of people
time. Look
borrow
for it.
stuff. I
I understand.
I just had my crutches borrowed out again. I have 2 sets of crutches, and there was one time they were both out. And the crutches I got back, and then I actually had to reissue them to the same person I issued them to him before.
Yeah, he made me sign out like a library card thing on the
It wasn't
boot.
a sign out. I was like, can I just get these back?
It.
I'm like, I just get these back because people come to me and like, hey, I need this. Can I get that? You know, a lot of injury stuff that I've accumulated over the years. Someone asked me if I had a leg immobilizer. I was like, I do not have a leg immobilizer. I have a couple walking boots. I've got a couple of sets of crutches.
What's the one I used? The one you used before the Michigan thing, right?
I don't know why else I would have had it. So
well, it said you had 2. I make sure I had the real one when I was borrowing, not the replica.
I don't know why I have the other one. I want
an Ohio State one, not an NFL one. Okay, I'm just saying.
I even have 2 of them, to tell you the truth.
Because one for me and the one for one of your kids if they wanted. Do you hold on to you've written letters? You're going to update will you still keep the old ones? Or will you?
Oh no, I still have the old letters and stuff too.
Okay,
because it's interesting for me to go back and to see my opinions and thoughts of what my kids were, of what I would have said to them at this point in their life versus now I have more information as we move forward of what that looks like.
Jake wants to know if you have any locks of your long hair.
I do not.
I don't want that, but Jake might want it.
I
Next time you get a haircut, though, just keep some aside.
I don't, because whenever I cut it, I would usually donate it.
Yeah,
I would donate it. So there are locks of it probably around,
somewhere.
hopefully on a wig of someone.
Yes.
At some point.
I hope that's where they put it, Bobby. Yes, I'm with
Should
you on
you
that
die
one.
before me, which is highly unlikely.
I don't know about highly, but
I think so. I'd like your 2002 gold pants.
So those have been already allocated to my children.
Come on, man.
That was
Okay.
we did a snake order.
I don't want his crutches.
In true fantasy football fashion, we did a snake order draft.
All right.
And so there was kind of 12 things that I put down of things that are of value. And I told my kids, here you go. And we went from oldest to youngest. The real sweet spot was probably the 3-hole because you got the 3 and the 6 on the back end of the snake. So you really, you weren't going to get the best stuff, but you really got a good thing. And then you could really get on the back side of it. And I did limit them. I said you can only get 1 pair of gold pants because there's only 3, so someone was not going to get one anyway.
Oh, who didn't get it? Caleb gets shut out?
I think it's a good question.
Caleb wouldn't take that well.
No, I think he did. I think, was it McLean? I don't know. I'll have to go back and look. I have it all written down.
Jeffrey wants to know, can I have your fake ID?
My fake ID?
I guarantee you have a fake ID.
From college, yeah, of course. Well, high school, but yeah, whatever.
I told you the story of a friend of mine who had substance abuse problem. I don't know if I told you this story or not. Jake Ballard sent me this video when him went and talked, and Tress put some together, helped get him together. A good friend of mine. And he was telling his story of sobriety, and he's been sober now for the last 3 years, and I'm really happy for him. But he was telling, his story, but he's like, I started drinking in high school, and I started smoking and getting into some other stuff and different things. And he goes, when you're an athlete and you're successful, things just kind of work out for you. He goes, and he tells the story, and I'm watching this on a video of him talking to a couple hundred people. He goes, I get to Ohio State, first day, I'm giving my dad a hug, kind of crying, it's emotional. He goes, I get on the bus to head over to practice. He goes, and there's a guy there who was, he's a starter and a prominent player, older guy. And he looks at me, he goes, hey, do you drink? And he goes, I didn't know if this was a test or whatever. What was the initiation?
No, sir.
He's like, so I was like, yeah, I drink. He goes, good. I just turned 21. I've got a fake ID that looks like you. And then he gave that to me. He goes, so that kind of opened up a lot of things early on. And then Courtney was sitting there watching it. She goes, was that you? And I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. Because I vividly, my birthday's August 1st. I turned 21 the year that he got there. And my fake ID, I told him, looks more like you than it even looks like me.
So, Jake, you can have his fake ID if you can find it.
I've got some old licenses of mine. I've got some long hairs.
I've got the boot and the yellow buck coming my way. This is all very morbid to talk about this.
It's okay.
But, Bobby, you also can be in the right frame of mind.
Death is a part of life.
When you record these things, think about it like if you had a fight with Courtney that day. And you're like, all right, well, I'm dead and gone. By the way, you were wrong about the toilet seat or something like that. Or, I would think that depending on the mood you're in, it could impact the message.
It definitely could. Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong in that. I mean, I usually have a glass of wine before I do it, so that, or maybe two, to make sure that I'm in a good frame to be able to deliver it appropriately. Try to make sure that I'm clean shaven and don't look like I'm on death's door, so that it's, I don't want to be like you said, where I'm emaciated and dying of cancer, which would be atrocious. I'd rather just go, in a car wreck or in a plane crash. But yeah, so
mine would be Costanza. I'd be like, I got a lot of problems to you people. Let me start right now. I want to tell
all the problems. I want to tell hey, the stuff that my dad has told me.
Right.
The things that I value that he doesn't even remember half of them telling me, that I've kind of built my life around and of how I've tried to be successful and tried to live. That's the same stuff that I tell my kids that hopefully they would appreciate. And so one of the things that my dad would always tell me is America's the greatest country in the world because you can be whatever you want, depending upon your aptitude and your ability to work, you can go achieve anything. And, you can go from, what my grandfather's upbringing was of one of 14 kids and not really having a home and a dad who was an alcoholic to doing what my father was able to do. And he's telling me this, on the way to school. And he's like, work hard, do these things so you can do what you want to do in life. And I remember talking to him. He's like, I don't remember saying any of that. And I'm like, I remember walking to school and we were watching somebody walk to a construction site. And he's like, that guy might like his job, he might not, but he's having to work outside in the cold right now and do this. And you know what? He's like, that's what your grandfather did. And he's like, he did that so that I could do something that I wanted to do because I didn't want to do that.
Right.
And so messages like that. And one of the other things that I told yesterday, I spoke at the graduation for the Fairfield Career Center yesterday. We bring on some of their graduates to our Carpenter and Freeland team. And it's the three things that a lot of people value, the three most important things, money, time, and happiness, and had little messages about those. But one of the things my dad told me, which is if money's all you chase, it's all you ever catch. And so it's you can catch dollars in other ways, but if that's all you're pursuing, that's probably the only thing that you'll ever find. And so there's a lot of other things in life that I would argue are much more important, especially as you get older.
All right, make sure you stick around. We'll tell you who's got his juice next. And we also have AJ Hawk to wrap things up in the final segment. This is Morning Juice.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. I know firsthand what it's like to battle through joint pain. After years of the hard hits and the wear and tear on the field, I thought it was just going to be something I had to live with. Let me tell you, that's no longer the case thanks to QC Kinetics. For over 8 years, QC Kinetics has been leading the charge nationwide in non-surgical joint pain relief, helping over 50,000 patients get back to doing what they love, pain-free. Whether it's your knees, back, hips, shoulders, you pick it. If joint pain's been slowing you down, you need to hear about what Dr. Aaron Walkoff and his team in Columbus are doing. They're using cutting-edge regenerative medicine, natural biologic treatments with powerful healing properties days to repair and restore damaged joint tissue. No surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. Just real results. The kind of treatment I wish I had access to during my playing days, and now you do. Imagine this summer playing around at golf, chasing the kids, and just enjoying a walk without the pain. Go to qckinetics.com/Columbus or call 380-228-4544. They now have offices in Grove City and Canal Winchester.
In honor of all those we've lost to cancer and those still fighting and thriving, like basketball analyst and cancer champion Dick Vitale.
I want to beat cancer. I'm going to beat it. That's no doubt in my mind. I'm going to win this battle.
Defeating cancer will take all of us. Join our team to help fund game-changing research that saves lives. At the V Foundation, V is for victory over cancer. V is for victory over the odds. V is for victory over health disparities, victory over setbacks, victory over the unknown. V is for victory over giving up.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Donate to the V Foundation to join our team and help save lives.
Cancer can take away all my physical abilities. It cannot touch my mind, it cannot touch my heart, and it cannot touch my soul.
100% of donations fund game-changing cancer research. Donate now to the V Foundation at v.org.
We are the keepers of the wild, America's original and most invested conservationists. For more than 80 years, we've been committed to conserving wildlife and the natural landscapes that define our nation. From rugged alpine ridgelines to peaceful tall grass prairies, we've supported the conservation of more than 36 million acres of American wildlands. Our funding has led to cleaner water, fresher air, and improved wildlife habitat. From abundant fish and waterfowl populations to robust deer and elk herds, nothing is more important than maintaining wild spaces for adventurers to explore and wildlife to thrive. We are America's hunters and target shooters, stewards of the American outdoors.
America's hunters and target shooters, along with firearm, ammunition, and archery manufacturers, have invested more than $46 billion to help state fish and wildlife agencies manage and protect wildlife and wildlands across America. For more information, visit OutdoorStewards.org.
Bobby's knees hurt from doing battle with some of football's toughest warriors. Tito's knees hurt from begging Bobby to let him host this show.
Oh, pick me! Oh, I know, me!
This is Morning Juice.
Morning Juice. Thank you for sticking with us. Thank you for all the talk in the chat there. I actually had to, I'm not going to say what I did, but I had to look something up. Someone made a comment. We were talking about it.
The Merkin.
Don't do it. I wasn't going to say it, Bobby.
Why not?
Because I don't want.
How do you spell it?
I'm not going to do that.
We're not going to say what it is on the air, but people want to know. They'll look it up.
I feel
Merkin. Oh, Tito, come on.
I'm just telling you.
We're grown men here.
No, I feel very weird saying how it's spelled, so I just nodded my head in the direction I needed to on that one. Jeff Rimmer just put it back out there. Let's go from that talk to what's got you juiced.
What's got you juiced?
Sponsored by Billiards Plus. Find your next grill and everything you need for the master griller. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
Hell, this show's off the rip. Bobby, this is either a great show or one of our last ones. I'm not sure which one it is.
I mean, I think it's been highly entertaining.
I've
it was
enjoyed it. Educational, too. I didn't know what a Merkin was.
Stop saying the word!
What?
Because it's not... Okay, Bobby, what's got you juiced?
You get so loud.
You're so
I know
fragile.
I do. I'm not fragile.
He's a snowflake over there, Shark.
People said my mic's louder than yours and Shark's, and someone else says he's got a loud
so
mouth.
much.
I know I do. That's fine.
Just like I tell everybody, volume doesn't equal correctness. It doesn't make you more right. By you yelling in the argument, it doesn't make you affirm your position more.
Whoever yells loudest is right.
Listen, if you think you're going to trick me into believing logic at this age, dude, you are way late. There's no way. I know you're right. I'm not going to change.
When people say to my kids, I'm like, you can yell all you want. It doesn't mean that you're correct. So, I mean,
I feel like I am.
They're like, stop yelling at me. You want me to yell? I can yell loud. I can yell louder than just about anybody I know. But what's the point of that? Yeah. Okay. I'd rather be able to convince you with a solid argument of facts. And if I can't convince you, I'll confuse you and then maybe fool you with trickery then.
You're wrong. Okay. Bobby, what's got you juiced?
Oh, goodness, what's got me juiced? Well, hopefully we got AJ coming up here today. It's Friday.
What do you mean, hopefully?
Don't say hopefully.
Listen, it's the
we
first.
Moved this late in the game.
We did move it up because of AJ coming on, because I confirmed with him 2 days ago. But the thing is, he's been coming on at 8:30 for about 3 years, and so this is the first time we're changing it up. But it's the end of the first week of Morning Juice. Some of the things that we asked for a month ago to get installed weren't able to get installed over that month, but then basically they were able to get done in a week, which I find just unbelievable, because our engineering team has worked really hard to get that done. It's almost like they weren't aware of those things needing to be where they were. And so now it seems like there's almost a functioning studio here. So I'm pretty excited about that. It's come a long way. Still some ways to go. But that's got me. What are you laughing about, Joey?
No, it's come a long way. A month ago, it was a crew studio.
But
now it's a.
But don't you find it unbelievable?
Juice.
Don't you find it amazing, Shark, that you can ask for something in a month, and then it doesn't get done in that month, but then if you re-ask for it again, it can get done in a week. It's
or
almost
overnight.
Or overnight, which some of the stuff happens, because it's almost like the people that were going to install it didn't know that they needed to do that because it didn't get relayed to them. So that's what I found absolutely remarkable. And so now it's a little bit better functioning and things are moving in the right direction. So that is obviously positive. So that's got me juiced. I've got a sweet garage beer fridge getting delivered today over to the Woody Hayes. So juiced up about that. Some of the strength coaches 101. So my one buddy over there said, hey, we can take care of that and get that done. So excited to do that.
Mini fridge or full size?
I'm a size unknown. I don't think it's a full size, but I'm not sure. There's different sizes of mini. Like, is it like a little one you put on top of your counter, or is
like
it like
in your dorm room?
Yeah, or is it a full 2-3 foot one that goes under counter? I don't know. And so I'm excited to kind of see this, but they look sweet. Yeah,
it's a garage beer refrigerator.
Yes,
in a training facility.
Well, I'm giving it to one of the strength coaches.
But it's going to be at the facility.
Well, it's getting delivered there, so I can give it to them.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. I was thinking, because beer in the training facility doesn't seem like a good idea to me.
Well, it doesn't have to have beer in it. It's a refrigerator.
That's what I wasn't sure. I know. I thought the Kiss radio always just played Kiss songs.
It's like Tommy Boy. You can put anything you need to keep cold in there, Tommy.
Beer's good for you, Tito. It's got.
Well, garage beer is great.
It's like bread in a bottle.
That's exactly what it is. But having a grilled cheese sandwich with that does not ever work out on the grill. Go ahead.
But it's so that's got me juiced today. Going to do a little camp out with Caleb this weekend. We've only got a handful of those left. He is my last kid as I've gone through Indian Guides, and so I started this journey 12 years ago with not 12. It would have been, he's 15, probably 8 years ago that I've done this, and I've done campouts every spring and fall since then, even 2 sometimes with when my daughter was going through for about 4 or 5 years when we had to double up and I was doing boys and girls. So got 1 more year left of that. So this is the final one this year, 2 next year, and then I'll be out of there. So that's got me juiced up today, going over to the paddle taps, little paddle.
Pickleball kind of thing?
Pickleball deal,
Okay.
yes. Tonight, that's over in Worthington, so going to do that before we head on out. Got a soccer game tonight that off too before that, so we'll see Artie and Caleb run around there. And then I've got a little David Goggins Shark that I love hearing.
When that alarm clock goes off at 4 or 5 in the morning, your mind says no. You just say, this is what we do. It's what we do now. Because to get to where you want to go, the amount of pain involved, the amount of mental pain, of how many times you're going to have to do something that you don't want to do to get to where you want to go. There's going to be more times you do something that you don't want to do than you are going to want to do it. And that's your new norm. That's your new norm. And then once you do this over and over and over again, it becomes like breathing. I don't want to live this lifestyle, but to get to the other side of this, I have to.
Can I get that as an alarm? Can I get that that speech?
This is what we do.
Okay, save as an alarm though, because when I wake up in the morning, right now it's Foo Fighters.
I like that.
It's Foo Fighters "Learn to Fly," and it goes off really loud.
I like that.
But I'm saying, if I get something like this to use as a alarm, can you stick around later today and just put it in some kind of form and then send it to me?
What time does your alarm go off?
4:30.
Okay.
That said 4. I know.
He said 4.
I understand
4 or
that.
5.
So get up at 4, run
This
a
is
half
what we do.
mile, and then get in the shower.
I need that speech, though, to start things off.
You ever seen David Goggins? You ever seen that body?
I've never.
He was fat, dude. You had
100
never seen him
pounds
before,
over-
did
Yeah.
He was fat. And I try to tell people, they're like, oh, this guy. I'm like, dude, his life, you go read his books, it's crazy.
Talking about him on the anniversary of Top Gun's also ironic, right? He had the theme song.
Not that you're fat, Tito. I'm not trying to imply that.
Tinoff's lost a lot of weight.
Yes,
Tinoff,
he
what's
has.
got you juiced, by the way?
What's got me juiced?
Oh, actually, hold on.
Let's
Chark,
do
what's
Slags.
Slags got to say?
Listen, man, if I got to go chase somebody down, right, real fast, gas station ready, Waffle House ready, and I got to sprint 30 yards, okay? Like, I'm not going to have anything pop when I just, boom, I just power into the ground and I accelerate on their, all up in their face.
I'm Schleg's alarm clock on Tuesday.
Yes.
I know you are. Yes, you are. Yeah.
He goes from total sleep to juiced in about 30 seconds.
It's amazing.
'Cause he
Like I
has
always
to
thought
be.
when you guys had him on, he was like already 3 monster drinks in.
No,
But I
no.
witnessed this the other day when you called him. It was like, huh? Like, yeah, hey, you're on in 2 minutes. Okay. And then he kills it.
What's amazing is that we gave him another 40 minutes and he still
Yeah.
is in the same state.
Right, right.
What has me juiced? Kind of hard to believe that interleague play has already been around for 3 decades.
Crazy.
I mean, it started in 1997. The Ohio Cup is once again up for grabs starting tonight in Cincinnati. And I like to go over the results from the first 27 years because, Tito, you're a Reds fan, and this is even more fun now. It actually started in 1989. The Ohio Cup was that one-game exhibition at Cooper Stadium every year, usually the day before or 2 days before the regular season opener. And the then Indians won 6 out of 8 in that version
Exhibition.
of the Ohio Cup. Yeah, exhibition games. So that didn't really count. It's the new stuff that does count. Interleague play started in 1997.
Gimmicky.
And since then, Cleveland has won or retained 22 cups, and the Reds 5. 22-5. So that's pretty
Sound
good.
like right on the fence. Pretty
Matter
close.
of fact, over the last 10 years, the Indians/Guardians have won it every single year or retained it. Going back to 2014 was the last time the Reds won the Ohio Cup. So it's pretty much remains
Last time
in
they cared about
Cleveland's possession. It's probably getting a little dusty in the trophy case up there, but there's not a lot of other trophies to go with that. Last night, Texas Rangers beat the Astros 1-0. Bruce Bochy gets his 2,195th career victory as a manager, and that passes Sparky Anderson for 6th place on the all-time list. Sparky, of course, with the Reds and the Tigers. And now he needs, I think it's 132 more, and he would move past Joe Torre.
Is Torre second?
Into 5th place.
Oh, 5th. Who's first? Oh, first Connie Mack.
Connie
Who's
Mack,
second?
John McGraw.
Okay, that's
Then
McGraw, yeah.
LaRussa, then Bobby Cox.
Okay.
And then Torre.
All right.
Ironically, LaRussa, Cox, and Torre all went into the Hall of Fame the same year. And then what doesn't have me juiced, Sovereignty not running the Preakness tomorrow, so now nobody cares. Nobody cares because there's no chance for a Triple Crown. Tito, what might have you juiced?
Sleeping in tomorrow until 7 a.m.
Yes.
Cannot wait for that. By the way, Chad Rink put in the chat, Merkin for the weekend. Take on the Loverboy song there. I thought that was interesting. Not working for the weekend, Merkin for the weekend. That's not bad.
I don't know how you make a Merkin a verb.
Is that what we're going to go with? That's why we're going to...
Merking is a verb. Jumping, walking.
He just said Merkin for the weekend. It's just, he didn't put a G on the end of it. So I thought it was clever. And Bobby, I can't do campouts. I can't.
Why is that?
I don't do well outside. I don't.
What are you, a house cat?
No, I'm just saying, like, I don't do well in like a tent or in like a thing where you've got to start a fire without.
What about a cabin?
Oh, a cabin. Yeah, I can do a cabin as long as it's got
That's
like
where I'm
indoor plumbing.
sleeping.
Oh, well, I thought you were doing I thought you were doing like a camp out there.
We can camp if we want, but I just sleep in the cabin. I used to bring a tent, but
There we go. Okay.
I've mailed it in.
Now I feel more manly, the fact that you would also do the cabin. Also, I'm not sure about Artie tonight. He missed practice yesterday, Bob. I think about putting the fist down, or the foot down, I guess I should say, and say, fist down would be a child services call. Putting my foot down and saying, you can't
Make
play
sure it's
because you
open
practice.
hand. Why didn't he practice?
We couldn't get him ready to go. Your white Corey's supposed to pick him up, and he was just fighting us on it. And I think he was
Coach, he's
tired.
8.
I understand that.
How did you not win an argument with an 8-year-old?
You haven't, because I kept yelling.
I have. He stayed with me for a week.
So
I know exactly.
That is what, Bobby. I want him to come live at your house for the summer.
Yeah.
You okay with that?
I don't need any more kids that I didn't create.
I didn't ask you if you need more kids. I asked you, can Artie
Those
stay?
are the 4 most expensive decisions of my life.
Who would you rather have spend the summer at your house?
Artie for sure.
Or Tito?
Artie. That's not even a question.
Sounds
He
like you're on the
probably
fence
gained
about
like
it.
20 pounds too.
Artie?
Yeah.
He needs to.
Well, I tell him because you know why? That your yeses be yeses and your noes be noes. And I'm like, hey, buddy, you need to eat that.
He would listen to you.
Well, maybe if he respected you more.
The next time you do a snake draft, invite him over. He'll be supplemental picks. He won't get like any of the first couple rounds. He gets supplemental picks. But just tell me what time Camp de Carpenter starts this summer. What day? I'll have him there with the sleeping bag if you need it. We'll let him write letters, all that kind of stuff. We don't need to see him. And he can just, we'll see what he looks like when he comes back in August. You okay with that?
We can do that.
All right, Courtney. There we go. Courtney's, that's fantastic. Glad we got it on record here now. All right, coming up next, AJ Hawk joins us Morning Juice.
My son Ian was diagnosed with a brain tumor at the age of 16 months. The outlook was pretty rough. I mean, it was, we had no hope until St. Jude rescued us. I mean, they saved him. To this date, we are 12 years into this journey, and from day one, we've never once seen a bill. It gave us the peace of mind to know that we're there with our son, and we're gonna beat cancer together. Now, he is doing really, really well. He's alive because of what St. Jude has done. He's here because of the doctors who came before, their blood, their sweat, their tears, the knowledge accumulated and shared, with everyone else around the world. This is how we get rid of this, how we help kids beat cancer all over. It's the future.
Together, we will make cures possible for every child everywhere. Learn more at stjude.org.
Around the world, Children International and friends like you are giving children in poverty a chance to grow and thrive, to be healthy, to succeed in school, and achieve great things. How do we do it? In the best way possible, by helping ensure access to healthcare, nutrition, and educational opportunities. And most importantly, by empowering youths and their families to get out of poverty and into employment through life skills, computer, and job training. The very tools they need to break the cycle of poverty and build futures full of promise. Because every child deserves a chance to realize their full and best potential. Learn more about how Children International is empowering children and families by going to children.org today. That's children.org.
Teachers are dynamic leaders, shaping a new generation. They bring a variety of perspectives from diverse backgrounds, innovating how they teach to prepare students for our fast-changing world. Achieving this takes skill and expertise. They're tireless explorers, creatively discovering a universe of solutions, telling stories, experimenting, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, and connecting with each other, leading by example. Experience the unique joy of helping students thrive. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready to begin? Explore teaching at teach.org, a campaign supported by the U.S. Department of Education, Teach.org, and 1 million teachers of color.
Bobby is the all-American male. Tito pulled a hammy getting his mail. This is Morning Juice.
It is Morning Juice, final segment of the program, final segment of this version of Morning Juice this week. Appreciate all of you in the chat for sticking with us this whole week and chatting it up with us. It's been a lot of fun. It's been educational today. I would say, Shark, I've learned more in the chat than I usually learn from this date in history. So it's been a fruitful chat today. So not necessarily knowledge I'll use, but knowledge nonetheless. Let's right now talk to our good friend, A.J. Hawk. He's joining us here now on Morning Juice. A.J.,
do you want to play the open or not?
Yeah, I was going to do that. I was going to ask you. I was going to say my first question was going to be, A.J., do you mind if I play the open? That's all I was going to do there, Chuck.
A man with many career achievements. Leading tackler in Centerville football history. Leading tackler in Green Bay Packers history. Still afraid of Larry Knopfsinger. And the crowning achievement, the third member of the Island Boys, A.J. Hawk.
AJ, we have stumbled upon a topic this morning that I did not think we would. Bobby has told us that his kids have had a snake draft for his memorabilia, for his items, for when he, unfortunately, at some point will pass away. And they the gold pants were the first 3 picks, but they were the most coveted ones. But it was a snake draft they did. I'm curious, have you thought about doing that with your kids? And if so, what would be the number 1 pick?
Wow, that's a good question. We have not done that with my kids. They have not really been fighting over anything that I have, but I think the number 1 pick for especially all my boys, they all want some of the old helmets I have, like a couple of my Ohio State helmets, Packer helmets, and I have a couple Bengals helmets. Actually, I think they're always trying to get to those and put them on and go smash each other in the head. So I think that would probably go number 1 if we did have a draft.
In all likelihood, you and Bobby will both outlive me. Bobby's already said I could have the Illabuck, though, and also his walking boot. I'm curious, can I have your eye patch if you pass before me?
Oh, man. Yeah.
Awesome.
You know what? I could gift that to you. I gotta dig that up wherever I put it. Hopefully I don't need that again anytime soon. But, yeah, you can have the eye patch. I'll put that in the will.
All right, look in the Halloween trunk. I bet it's in there somewhere.
I don't know. I thought you kept that on your nightstand for some role play.
No, it's depth perception. You take one eye away, your depth perception's all off. So that was a tough 3-4 days I had with that eye patch. I couldn't really figure anything out.
You look good though. Hey, I'm talking age. I sat down with the kids. It would be an interesting exercise for you, and I had to kind of help Caleb. I was his advisor. But I got out our gold pants. You've got a Super Bowl ring in there and a national championship ring, our bowl rings, some watches of things. And I said, all right, guys, in case something happens, I don't mind, because my dad's just ignored everything. And so I've tried to talk to him about their will. And I'm like, you don't want arguments and fights about stuff. So sat down and I was like, how's the best way to do this? So we did a snake order. So the youngest didn't get screwed. I was like, Caleb, you get to go 4th, but then you get to go 5th. As well, so you get 2 picks back to back, and I think it would be a fun exercise to sit down one evening as a family. You kind of lay everything out, and I sat there, and I really didn't have a timeout for them. They just kind of looked through some stuff, but I recorded it. I said, okay, and if you guys want to make trades or anything later, then we can do that. But here it is, and I think that your family would be a really nice exercise.
I never really thought about it till now, but you're right. I wonder, I think the level of engagement from kid to kid in my family is going to be greatly different. They're not all going to be clamoring to get a hold of everything, but there's definitely a few items I think they all would want. But yeah, it is smart, Bob. Before something happens, you always hear about families always fighting over all kinds of stuff. If something happens to somebody, it's not a bad idea. I might present that to them and see what they say. But I'm sure they will have some heavy arguments over, even if they don't want something, but then they think that their brother or sister wants it. That makes them want it just so they can't have it. So that's the issue.
And that's the thing is, you'd rather be there to preside over it, to keep them all friendly about it.
But would I, Bob? I don't know. Maybe it'd be better to not be around for that.
Yeah, I guess. I
don't want anything.
You see, you're a lot like my dad.
Kids got to figure it out. Kids got to figure it out. If I'm lurking, watching them play 2-on-2 basketball like I do, they play in my driver all the time. If they see me, then they'll instantly, they fight more. They throw the ball off each other's faces. They punt it into the woods. If they don't see me, if I'm peeking from around a corner or a window, they just naturally have to work it out and just punch each other and then keep moving instead of yelling to me to try to figure things out. So maybe this is something I put in motion and then let them kind of figure it out. But I don't know. You got me thinking, though, early in the morning. It's good.
So, yeah, AJ, I already asked Bobby if I could be part of the supplemental draft of the things the kids didn't take, or maybe get a 3rd or 4th round pick. Let me know if that's a possibility with you as well.
Yeah, right after the eye patch, I'll see what else I got. You can kind of pick up in the draft.
Do you still have that glove that you flipped off Moss with?
I do have a bunch of gloves from the Packers. I think I do have that that pair that I wore that day. We were wearing throwback uniforms, so I do remember They
that's
gave
right.
us right after the game. They actually like packed the whole uniform. I still have my pants that have blood on them. They didn't wash them. They gave them to us right after the game. They had the whole thing like in a package. Yeah, our guys, Bobby, Matt Hine was up at the game that weekend. A good friend from Fitermen worked with my brother, and he, was about 20 to 30 drinks in at my house in the kitchen afterwards, wearing my full throwback uniform with blood all over the pants, doing push-ups in my kitchen.
Come on.
So you still got the pants with blood on them?
Yeah, because they it was weird. We wore these throwbacks, and I said, hey, these are yours. You guys get to keep the jersey and pants. And so they got them packed into like a plastic bag as soon as the game was over. And said, we don't know if you guys want to wash them or not, but here they are. And yeah, we haven't washed them. They're somewhere down in the basement.
See, I would have a mannequin in your basement with wearing that uniform is what I would do. Especially when kids start dating. Having something like that, like when you first walk in, that's like the equivalent of seeing like a big stuffed bear, like a 9-foot bear in the entryway with a gun next to it. Say, I killed this bear. Your uniform, I think, will get that done. A couple people in the chat. One person wanted to know if you have any locks of your hair when you and Bobby and Schlegel did that. And then another person said they would want your fake bookshelf screen you use on the McAfee show.
Oh, can't have that. That thing's been going for 5-6 years. Hasn't fallen off the wall in a couple of years. It's got good duct tape on it. But, yeah, the mannequin thing. I don't know if you saw Kirk Cousins when they did that quarterback show.
Yeah.
He had like a secret room where he opens up and he has like 3 mannequins with different uniforms on.
Right.
I guess I could do that, but yeah, sure. It might scare some like young kids or middle school or high school kids coming over, but that would scare me too. Like I got to walk around my house in the dark. Like I might scare myself. I don't know, but I would put you got to strap a nice heavy machine gun to that mannequin if you do put it up.
That's amazing. I mean, do you think Laura would let that happen? I mean, because I was thinking like we could have AJ through the years and you could get it, maybe even have the long wig early on in your career.
Boy.
I mean, do you think Beebs would be able to build that into her interior decor?
Oh yeah, she'd be able to work in it somewhere. I mean, I don't think it would be front and center, like right beside the front door. It probably wouldn't be there, but we could find a way to put that somewhere. I don't know though. Like, where do you go get full size mannequins? Do people think you're a creep if you're trying to buy mannequins?
That's a good point.
You got to go look. Yeah,
just tell them they're all out of blow up dolls.
It's not black market, but I think that you do have to probably go to some places you normally wouldn't visit to find that. Who's the best quarterback you ever sacked?
Oh boy, good question. I don't know. You kind of got me. You put me on the spot there. I've got to hit someone down. Depending on if you get a full sack or what.
Who'd you hit?
Like I've interception. I mean, I never even sacked Tom Brady, but I've got a few little shots on him here and there.
This is what you do then.
Big Ben's a monster. I don't think I ever got Ben down, but I got a pick off of him at least.
Then you're getting 2 mannequins. One putting a Brady or Roethlisberger jersey, kind of tilt him somehow, make some adjustments to it, and the other one is you diving at their legs or something. Like that, it could be a much bigger presentation this way of you taking down or hitting a Hall of Famer. I think we've found something here that we should hit on here, AJ.
Well, you guys do get me thinking every time I come on here, so it's good because a lot of times I do think about a lot of random things, and you guys present new ideas to me. So this is always good. It keeps my brain working.
Patrick says Brady Quinn. I don't think that'd be appropriate.
Brady's too big. Brady's too tall. You get a mannequin of Brady. The dude's so damn tall.
Maybe we could do not even a mannequin age. I was thinking about this, the Ben Stiller picture behind him in Dodgeball when he's got him with the bull. And maybe something like that. It's almost like, comic, graphic novel-esque, you sacking someone, and whether that's Brady or maybe someone else, you hitting Big Ben or Tom Brady, whoever that might be. I think that'd be a nice little feature piece to hang somewhere in the home.
I mean, I'm with you, like you said, but my wife's an interior designer. I'm sure she would love all these things. Like, she's probably upset that I haven't brought these ideas to her sooner. Like, we could really class the house up and put some mannequins and it was different NFL uniforms on, maybe some college or high school uniforms. We could just make this place a whole museum, maybe. What's
amazing is the fact, I mean, I'm sure you're joking with that because Courtney has told me I can only have the memorabilia now in the basement or in my office. We used to have it in like the front living room, and then when we redid it, I went to hang it back up, and she said no. So I don't know. Like I was like, Court, it's Larry Bird and Michael Jordan right there. Like, who doesn't want to see that when they walk in the house? She's like, sorry, this doesn't fit with our theme. I'm like, I don't even know what that means. It's a house. I mean, it's not a novel.
Well, yeah. But sometimes I do, when you sit back and you think about the argument on that, I kind of understand, Courtney and Laura's perspective. Sometimes, like we could turn this house into a theme park, but luckily,
Yes.
I guess they kind of rein it in a little bit.
You guys have gold pants, and you've played in the NFL. AJ, you've got a Super Bowl ring. The fact you guys don't wear the pants in your family is very disappointing to me and probably all of our listeners, because I would think that you guys would have enough pull.
He's got the bloody pants, though.
I understand that. Now, AJ, I'm going to take this one step further here, and then I'm going to let it go. Now, listen, when you get together, say, if Brady's around, like a family gathering type thing, where does it usually happen? At your house? At somebody else's house? Where does it usually happen?
I'd say at my house more than not.
This is great. This is what you do then. I want you to go out and find a little kid mannequin. Okay, like some of those. Like
here we go.
Okay, put Brady's jersey
that
on
would open
that.
up even more questions.
Yeah, no, put Brady's jersey on that. It gets you tackling him to completely disregard his size and to mimic and to make him a very small child. And the next time they come over for Thanksgiving, that's what he sees.
I mean, yeah, it's another good idea. I'll have to. Okay, now either my internet search history or going in person and searching little tiny baby mannequin kids
could be weird.
That might put me on a list. So maybe I'll come over to your house. I'll research on your computer and order to your place, but then I can put it in my house.
Don't end up on that list that Aaron was talking about with Jimmy. That's the thing that it could be rough for you. Okay.
I think I'm good. I think I'm good on that list. I'll be all right.
Age, we appreciate the time today, sir. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy watching the kids' hoops from some voyeurism from like a little porthole somewhere. And give my best to Beebs, all right?
All right, thanks. I'll talk to you guys.
All right, love you, AJ. That was great having you on. Oh, by the way, sports. Right.
It's kids' sports. It
That's
was
right.
memorabilia.
We did work that in there. You're right. I'm telling you.
There's a lot of great questions. The mannequin thing that off is something that I guess the Kirk Cousins deal, I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah.
Because we had our Santa Claus upstairs he just made his way back down to the basement storage because we had some water in our basement. I had to replace a piece of drywall, so my brother had to come over. We took everything out of our storage room. We just got it all back in there, and Santa's like one of the last things to go in.
Right.
And so he was just sitting like around the corner from our front door, like in our formal living room, and people walked by and like it would freak him out, like if the light was off because it's just this giant. You couldn't really see who it was, and he's got the beard hanging down.
Yeah.
And it was like a silhouette, so it was a little bit creepy. And like my niece was over, who's like 3, and started crying when she saw him because she was surprised, like because you just catch it out of the corner of your eye, and you're not expecting anybody there.
I'm telling you, I think I would love to see that. I want to see. I think the child-sized Brady Quinn would be funny.
That's amazing, and it really that off of all the bad ideas you've had, that's actually a pretty entertaining one. But I don't like searching for kid mannequins. I don't even want to know what that would do to your algorithm and what other things would pop in there.
Malls are closing all over the world.
There are, I'm sure.
Walk into a mall. I'm sure there's a Macy's that's closing down or a Sears or something.
They got them at Ohio State. I'll ask them where they get their mannequins.
There you go. I don't think they get little kid ones, though, do they?
I'm sure they probably can.
They probably
source
could.
The same
You could probably,
ones.
See, you do, that's what we got to do. And you guys have got enough gear. I want you to do it too, Bobby. And I don't care what Courtney says.
I don't even know
You're
where
letting my
I'd
kids
put
stay
it.
with you for the summer. I think you've got carte blanche on a mannequin of your
My
your
kids.
uniform.
Now we added.
No,
in
my
there.
kid. My kid.
Oh,
No,
I think
I'm
there's
thinking.
an S.
I'm keeping
like
Charlotte.
Illinois.
No.
You just
Let's
threw
not
that
be
S in
crazy.
there, like
No.
Illinois.
The last thing I'm going to do, Bobby, is impose. I would not do that, okay? You just got Artie. You don't have to keep both of them. I can take care of one. All right, that's it for us this week. Thank you to all of our guests. Again, thank you for the chat. Everyone chiming in there. You guys were great today, and I learned quite a bit, again, as I often do. Shark, I thank you for everything you did this week, and I hate the fact that another day is gone as far as you being here with us. But make sure you join us again on Monday. We'll be back. This is Morning Juice.
You know what hope is? Hope is action. Carving a path forward, even when it's hard.
And kids who still know how to dream. They're the best pathfinders of all.
So at Child Fund, hope means helping millions of children living in poverty worldwide to grow up healthy, educated, skilled, and so all those good things can come true for them. Safe.
And that means safe at home, safe at school, and safe online.
Hope means walking this path together. All of us. Because when we work together, we can do so much more.
That's right. Hope includes you.
Child Fund, because we need each other.
To learn how Child Fund works with children in 23 countries to help them achieve their full potential, visit childfund.org. That's childfund.org.
You know a thing or two about the moments in life that matter. You've seized those moments to embrace joy, accomplish great things, and build meaningful relationships. Is it time now to sit back and reflect on a life well lived? Maybe. Or maybe there's more to be done. Maybe this is the most important moment you've encountered yet. By volunteering with AmeriCorps Seniors, you can seize the moment, lend a hand, and get back more than you give. We connect you to local volunteer organizations with opportunities that fit your schedule and match your interests. Through AmeriCorps Seniors, you can support people in times of need and make your community stronger. You can become a companion to your older neighbors, brightening their days with friendship. You can even become a mentor for young people, serving as a role model and enriching their lives. Are you ready to seize your moment? Visit AmeriCorps.gov/yourmoment and get started today.
Hey Max, you look absolutely dashing in that purple tie. Ready to harness the world?
You bet, Daisy. I'm ready as I'll ever be. And might I say, your purple tie really pops with your vest.
Thanks. I almost went with a cape, but didn't want to come across as pretentious.
Nonsense. Anyone in our line of work should rock a cape.
You might be onto something, Max.
Phew, so here we go. First day on the job. You've got this, right?
Right. Don't forget, we both graduated from Dogs Inc. with honors.
Which means I can guide my human around a busy city with ease.
And I can give my human a restful night.
I hope my human is kind and loving.
And I hope mine likes wet kisses and zoomies.
Ready to make a difference?
Born ready. Let's go.
Discover how extraordinary dogs like Daisy and Max change lives at no cost to the recipients. Visit dogsinc.org.